Good evening, good afternoon, and good morning to you, wherever you are in the world, and welcome to The Show Must Go Online. I'm Robert Miles, actor, writer, director, and creator of the Shakespeare Deck. Every week, a global cast and crew of all levels of experience donate their time and talent freely as part of our ongoing mission to create Shakespeare for everyone, for free, forever. There's a lot going on in the world this week, much of it fraught and difficult. So we really appreciate you joining us, and we hope that tonight's show can provide you with some much needed escapism, entertainment, and joy. A dark fairy tale, Cymbeline nonetheless has a hopeful and optimistic ending, and we can only hope for the same for 2020. Tonight's production of William Shakespeare's Cymbeline will commence in approximately 10 minutes' time. Content warnings for this show include sexual assault, violence, and gore. We are now into our final 3 performances of Shakespeare's First Folio. So if you haven't told everyone you know about us yet, now is the time to do so. Share your reactions on social media. Share this link with your friends and family now, right now. Share the gift of Shakespeare for everyone, with everyone. While you're doing so, please like this video, subscribe to the channel, remembering, of course, to hit the bell icon to receive all notifications, and follow us at TSMG Online Live on Twitter or at The Show Must Go Online on Insta and Facebook. And now, to introduce tonight's play, brought to us, as always, by the magnificent Ben Crystal, it's my pleasure to welcome to the show Sawyer Kemp. Sawyer is a Chancellor's Postdoctoral Fellow in the Department of Gender and Women's Studies with the University of Illinois, Urbana-Champaign. Their research investigates the role of accessibility in contemporary Shakespeare performance, and their work on transgender representation has appeared in Shakespeare Studies, the Journal for Early Modern Cultural Studies, and the edited collection of Teaching Social Justice Through Shakespeare. Sawyer, the show is Cymbeline, and the floor is yours.
Thanks, Rob, and thank you for having me. So Cymbeline is one of Shakespeare's later plays, estimated to have been written in 1609, around the same time as Antony and Cleopatra, The Winter's Tale, and The Tempest. So like these surrounding plays, Cymbeline stages high-tech scenes of spectacle, magic, and the occasional battle. Cymbeline pushes on the boundaries of genre and convention, and it's often referred to as a sort of greatest hits of Shakespeare plays, as it seems to trot out and repurpose tropes from his earlier works. So you might recognize things like a murderously jealous husband like Leonatus in A Winter's Tale, a wrongly accused ingenue like Much Ado's hero, a sleeping draught that looks like death, a cross-dressing disguise that works so well it makes people fall in love with you, a wager that goes wrong, a lascivious Italian, a piece of bloody fabric, an exchange of love tokens, misleading correspondence by letter, a banishment, a beheading, a battle with Roman soldiers, a prophecy, mistaken identities, secret identities, and altogether a host of human problems that all get sorted out in a protracted final scene. The primary setting of the play is ancient Britain under the rule of King Cymbeline, and there are 3-ish basic plot lines that unfold, although they are neither linear nor basic. The first concerns the king's daughter Imogen and her lover Posthumus Leonatus. King Cymbeline and his new wife, who never gets a first name, hope to secure the line of succession by marrying Imogen to the queen's terrible son, Cloten. However, at the show's open, we learn that Imogen has already married her lover, and as a result, he has been banished and she has been imprisoned in her chambers. So this is unusual to start the play with the lovers already wedded and to have their major struggles not be on their path to marriage, but on their path to a more mature and secure relationship. After an exchange of love tokens, Posthumus leaves Italy and it leaves for Italy. And it does seem to be that he goes to a 16th century version of Italy, which I'll come back to. In Italy, Posthumus boasts about how fair and virtuous his girl back home is, and he goes so far as to make a wager about her unassailable chastity. He bets the ring that Imogen just gave him against the Italian Jachimo's powers of seduction. Jachimo travels to Cymbeline's court and makes a bold effort to seduce Imogen, which fails. Not willing to go home empty-handed, he stows himself in a chest in Imogen's room and waits until night to emerge. He assembles enough circumstantial evidence to win the bet and returns to Italy with his false proof, sending Posthumus into a jealous rage. Posthumus tells his servant Pisanio to murder Imogen. Pisanio decides that sometimes in order to be a good servant, requires you to know more and better than your master. So he bails on the murder plot and helps Imogen disguise herself as a boy, but tells Posthumus that he has killed her. Imogen spends the second half of the play dressed like a boy page, tumbling from one unlikely but somehow charmed scenario to the next until she's reunited with her love. Imogen has the majority of the text in the play, almost twice as much as King Cymbeline, but the play is named for and is ostensibly about Cymbeline, and the second plot focuses on Roman advances on Britain and threats to Cymbeline's sovereignty. The Roman ambassador Caius Lucius comes to court to demand regular tribute, which the queen and Cloten aggressively reject and which Cymbeline also denies, effectively daring the Roman forces to try and make them pay it and adding the looming specter of war to the play's growing tensions. The third plot, which is personally my favorite, involves the king's two sons, Guiderius and Arviragus, who have been missing and presumed dead since childhood, and a pair of mostly feral boys living in the wilds of pre-incorporated Wales, who are coincidentally about the same age as those boys would be now, and coincidentally very regal and tall and strong and etc. I'm sure you can see where this is going. Belarius, an old soldier and former favorite of the king, was unjustly banished years ago and raised the boys as his own children. Imogen, still disguised as the youth Fidele, takes shelter in a cave, which she soon learns belongs to this wild trio. And the boys have an instant and ineffable love for Fidele that they can't quite place, but they offer him shelter. The noble savage trope is alive and well here, with the feral Welsh boys offering comfort, civility, and security in contrast to the court of Cymbeline, where her own father threatens war and Cloten never takes a break from his degenerate gambling, brawling, and constant sexual harassment. In the last two acts of the play, these worlds and plot lines collide. Imogen takes a potion that Pisanio gave her from the queen. Imogen thinks it's medicine. The queen meant for it to be a poison, but actually a clever doctor swapped it out for a sleeping draught 2 acts ago. Cloten, dressed in Posthumus's clothes and intending to take Imogen by force, heads toward Wales, where he thinks Imogen and Posthumus have eloped. Instead, he encounters Guiderius, who kills him and cuts off his head. When Belarius and the boys discover sleeping Imogen, they believe she is dead and place her body next to the decapitated Cloten, so that on waking, Imogen believes she is seeing Posthumus because of his clothing. Directionless and heartbroken, she's scooped up by the Roman army who've arrived for battle. Also arrived is the real Posthumus Leonatus, now racked with guilt over having Imogen murdered. After a final battle where Cymbeline's forces stave off the Roman invaders and Belarius and company save the king from being captured, everyone still alive comes on stage for a final sorting out, but not before the god Jupiter himself descends on a giant flying eagle to intervene on Posthumus's behalf. So it's a weird one. The play was printed in the first folio as a tragedy and perhaps takes its formal cues from a new type of tragedy emerging in the 16th century, where the protagonists end happily after suffering, but where villains are duly punished and killed. In contemporary classifications, Cymbeline is usually considered to follow the conventions of medieval romance. It does seem like the characters in this play rarely know what type of play they are even in, and I agree with many other scholars who suggest that this pastiche of genres is a type of self-aware critique, a play that uses genres to create expectations only to swerve at the last minute and offer something new. Shakespeare initially sets up a straightforward wager play that tests Imogen's chastity, but unlike other wager plays and bed trick devices in other plays of the era, which showed women as morally inferior to men, Imogen is steadfastly chaste and innocent of all slander, which ends up proving women's integrity. Shakespeare nests this wager plot within a British history play, adds in a cameo from the Roman plays, and throws in a 16th century Italian character who can time travel between all three. As Posthumus and Jachimo move between the 16th century and the early 1st century, they draw attention to the central martial plot and the role of Britain's past identity as a repeatedly colonized space. This sort of invasion of the 16th century into the 1st century reminds us that as it was being staged, England was poised to expand an empire of their own. As King James I took the throne in 1603, he began actively pursuing unification of England and Wales with his home country of Scotland. Many have suggested that Shakespeare's decision to make the play specifically British echoes James's use of rhetoric and imagery of a so-called Great Britain, and that Cymbeline's ultimate decision to pay tribute after winning the war makes a national identity out of England's past and future colonialism. In performance, Cymbeline was regularly played through the 17th century and became popular again in the 18th century with various cuts and tweaks, mostly cutting the role of Posthumus to be smaller and smaller, I think because he's not very likable. One cut in particular was tailored to play up this British nationalism in order to flatter King George III, but other stagings drastically cut the ending, including the Deus Ex Machina and Posthumus's redemption arc. Increasingly in contemporary productions, the role of Posthumus and Cloten are actually double cast because they never appear on stage together. This is in part to solidify that actor as the leading role, but also to serves to underscore the similarities between these two suitors and critique the patriarchal violence that drives the romance plot. Ultimately, this is a play about the limits and uses of proof of loyalty to the state, to family, to one's spouse, proof of birth, proof of love, proof of death. Cymbeline's many twisting plot lines ask us what we think we know and how we think we know it, and then doubles back around to say, whatever you thought, you were wrong. And with that, I'll hand it back to Rob.
Thank you so much, Sawyer, for that amazing introduction. You had an unenviable task there with one of Shakespeare's most complex and convoluted plays, and I thought you navigated it absolutely beautifully. Thank you so, so much for that. And now, Grandlings, the show is about to begin, so make sure you're sitting comfortably with snacks aplenty and prepare for William Shakespeare's The Cymbeline.
Act 1, Scene 1. Britain, Cymbeline's Palace.
You do not meet a man but frowns. Our bloods no more obey the heavens than our courtiers still seem as does the king's.
But what's the matter?
His daughter and the heir of's kingdom, whom he purposed to his wife's sole son, a widow that late he married, hath preferred herself unto a poor but worthy gentleman. She's wedded, her husband banished, she imprisoned. All is outward sorrow, though I think the king be touched at very heart.
None but the king.
He that hath lost her too, so is the queen that most desired the match. But not a courtier, although they wear their faces to the bent of the king's looks, hath a heart that is not glad at the thing they scowl at.
And why so?
He that hath missed the princess is a thing too bad for bad report, and he that hath her, that married her, alack, good man, and therefore banished, is a creature such as to seek through the regions of the earth for one his like. There would be something failing in him that should compare.
What's his name and birth?
I cannot delve into the root. His father was called Caecilius, who did join his honour against the Romans with his Cymbeline, so gained the suredition Leonatus, and had, besides this gentleman in question, 2 other sons who in the wars of the time died with their swords in hand, for which their father, then old and fond of issue, took such sorrow that he quit being, and his gentle lady, big of this gentleman, our theme, deceased as he was born. The king, he takes the babe to his protection, calls him Posthumus Leonatus, puts to him all the learnings that his time could make him the receiver of, lived in court, which is rare to do, most praised. His mistress, from whom he now is banished, her own price proclaims how she esteemed him, and his virtue by her election may be truly read what kind of man he is.
I honour him, even out of your report, but pray you tell me, is she sole child to the king?
His only child. He had 2 sons, if this be worth your hearing, mark it. The eldest of them at 3 years old, in the swathing clothes the other, from their nursery were stolen, and to this hour no guess and knowledge which way they went.
How long is this ago?
Some 20 years.
That a king's child should be so conveyed, so slackly guarded, and the search so slow that could not trace them.
Howsoe'er 'tis strange, or that the negligence may well be laughed at, yet is it true, sir. Here comes the gentleman, the queen, and the princess.
No. Rest assured, you shall not find me, daughter, after the slander of most stepmothers, evil-eyed unto you. You're my prisoner, but your jailer shall deliver you the keys that lock up your restraint for you, Posthumus. So soon as I can win the offended king, I will be known your advocate. Marry, yet the fire of rage is in him, and 'twere good you leaned unto his sentence with what patience your wisdom may inform you.
Please, your highness, I will from hence today.
You know the peril. I'll fetch a turn about the garden, pitying the pangs of barred affections, though the king hath charged you should not speak together.
Oh, dissembling courtesy! How fine this tyrant can tickle where she wounds. My dearest husband, I sometimes fear my father's wrath, but nothing his rage can do on me. You must be gone, and I shall here abide the hourly shot of angry eyes, not comforted to live, but that there this jewel in the world that I may see again.
I will remain the loyalest husband that did e'er plight troth. My residence in Rome at one Belarius, who to my father was a friend, to me known but by letter, thither write, my queen, and with mine eyes I'll drink the words you send, though ink be made of gall.
Be brief, I pray you. If the king come, I shall incur I know not how much of his displeasure. Yet I'll move him to walk this way. I never do him wrong, but he does buy my injuries to be friends. Pays dear for my offenses.
Look here, love. This diamond was my mother's. Take it, Harte. But keep it till you woo another wife, when Imogen is dead.
How? How? Another? You gentle goods, give me but this I have, and sear up my embracement from her necks with bonds of death. Remain thou here, while sense can keep it on, and sweetest, fairest, as I my poor self did exchange for you to your so infinite loss, so in our trifles I still win a few. For my sake, wear this, 'tis a manacle of love. I'll place it upon this fairest prisoner.
Oh, the gods, when shall we see again?
Alack, the king.
Thou basest thing! Avoid hence, from my sight! If after this command thou fraudst the court with thy unworthiness, thou diest! Away! Thou'rt poison to my blood!
The gods protect you, and bless the good remainders of the court. I'm gone!
There cannot be a pinch in death more sharp than this.
Oh, this loyal thing, that shouldst repair my youth, thou heapst a year's age on me.
I beseech you, sir, harm not yourself with your vexation. I am senseless of your wrath. A touch more rare subdues all pangs, all fears.
Past grace, obedience.
Past hope, and in despair, that way past grace.
Thou mightst have had the sole son of my queen.
Oh, blessed that I might not. I chose an eagle and did avoid a puttock.
Thou took'st a beggar. Wouldst have made my throne a seat for baseness.
No, I rather added a lustre to it.
Oh, vile one.
Sir, it is your fault that I have loved Posthumus. You bred him as my playfellow, and he is a man worth any woman.
What? Art thou mad?
Almost, sir. Heaven restore me. I would I were a neat herd's daughter, and my Leonatus our neighbour shepherd's son.
Thou foolish thing! They were again together. You have done naught after our command. Away with her, and pen her up.
Beseech your patience. Peace, dear lady daughter, peace. Sweet sovereign, leave us to ourselves and make yourself some comfort out of your best advice.
Nay, let her languish a drop of blood a day, and being aged, die of this folly.
Fie, you must give way. Here is your servant. How now, sir, what news?
My lord your son drew on my master.
Huh? No harm, I trust, is done?
There might have been, but that my master rather played than fought, and had no help of anger. They were parted by gentlemen at hand.
I am very glad on't.
Your son is my father's friend. He takes his part to draw upon an exile. Oh, brave sir. I would they were in Afric both together, myself with a needle that might prick the goer back. Why came you from your master?
On his command. He would not suffer me to bring him to the haven, left these notes of what commands I should be subject to, when't please you to employ me.
This hath been your faithful servant. I dare lay mine honour he will remain so.
I humbly thank your highness.
Pray, walk a while.
About some half hour hence, pray you speak with me. You shall at least go see my lord abroad, for this time leave me.
Act 1, Scene 2. Britain, a public place.
Sir, I would advise you to shift a shirt. The violence of action hath made you reek as a sacrifice. Where air comes out, air comes in. There's none abroad so wholesome as that you vent.
If my shirt were bloody, then to shift it.
No, faith, not so much as his patient.
Hurt him? Have you hurt him? His body's a passable carcass, if he be not hurt. It is a thoroughfare for steel, if it be not hurt.
That villain would not stand me.
No, but he fled forward still toward your face.
And you? You have land enough of your own, but he added to your having, gave you some ground.
I would they had not come between us.
So would I, till ye had measured how long a fall you were upon the ground.
And that she should love this fellow and refuse me.
It is a sin. If it be a sin to make a true election, she is damned.
Sir, as I told you always, her beauty and her brain go not together. She's a good sign, but I have seen small reflection of her wit.
She shines not upon fools, lest a reflection should hurt her.
You'll go with us.
I'll attend your lordship.
Nay, come, let's go together.
Well, my lord.
Act 1, Scene 3. Britain, Cymbeline's palace.
What was the last that he spake to thee?
It was his queen, his queen.
Then waved his handkerchief.
And kissed it, madam.
Tenseless linen, happier therein than I. And that was all?
No, madam, for so long as he could make me with this eye or ear distinguish him from others, he did keep the deck with glove or hat or handkerchief still waving, as the fits and stirs of his mind could best describe how slow his soul sailed on, how swift his ship.
Thou should have made him as little as a crow, or less ere left to eye after him.
Madam, so I did.
I would have broken mine eye strings, cracked them, but to look upon him, till the diminution of space had pointed him sharp as my needle. When shall we hear from him?
Cured, madam, with his next vantage.
I did not take my leave of him, but had most pretty things to say. Ere I could tell him how I would think on him at certain hours, such thoughts and such. Or I could make him swear the she's of Italy should not betray mine interest and his honour, or have charged him at the 6th hour of morn, at noon, at midnight, to encounter me with orisons, for then I am in heaven for him. Or ere I could give him that parting kiss, which I had set betwixt two charming words, comes in my father, and like the tyrannous breathing of the north, shakes all our buds but from growing.
The Queen, madam, desires your highness's company.
Do these things I bid you. Get them dispatched. I will attend the Queen.
Madam, I shall.
Act 1, Scene 4. Rome, Act 1, Belarius' house. Britain, Cymbeline's palace.
Believe it, sir. I have seen him in Britain. He was then of a crescent note, expected to prove so worthy since he had been allowed the name of it. But I could then have looked on him without the help of admiration.
Well, I have seen him in France. We had very many there could behold the sun with as firm eyes as he.
This matter of marrying his king's daughter, wherein he must be weighed rather by her value than his own, words him, I doubt not, a great deal from the matter.
Then his banishment?
Aye, and the approbation of those that weep this lamentable divorce under her colours are to wonderfully extend him, be it but to fortify her judgment, which else an easy battery might lay flat, for taking a beggar without less quality. But how comes it that he is to sojourn with you? How creeps acquaintance?
His father and I were soldiers together, to whom I have been often bound for no less than my life. Here comes the Briton. Let him be so entertained amongst you as suits with gentlemen of your knowing to a stranger of his quality. I beseech you all be better known to this gentleman, whom I commend to you as a noble friend of mine.
Sir, we have known together in Orleans.
When I've been debtor to you for courtesies, which I will ever be to pay, and yet pay still.
Oh, sir, you always my poor kindness. I was glad I did atone my countryman and you. It had been a pity you should have been put together with so mortal a purpose as then each bore upon importance of so slight and trivial a nature.
By your pardon, sir, I was then a young traveller, but upon my mended judgment, if I offend not to say it is mended, my quarrel was not altogether slight.
Can we, with manners, ask what was the difference?
It was much like an argument that fell out last night, where each of us fell in praise of our country's mistresses. This gentleman at that time vouching, and upon warrant of bloody affirmation, his to be more fair, virtuous, wise, chaste, constant, qualified, and less attemptable than any the rarest our ladies in France.
That lady is not now living, or this gentleman's opinion by this worn out.
She holds her virtue still, and I my mind.
You must not so far prefer hers for ours of Italy.
Being so far provoked I was in France, I would abate her nothing.
If she went before others I have seen, as that diamond of yours outlusters many I have beheld, I could not but believe she excelled many, but I have not seen the most precious diamond that is, nor you the lady.
I praised her as I rated her, so do I my stone.
What do you esteem it at?
More than the world enjoys.
Either your unparagoned mistress is dead, or she's outprized by a trifle.
You're mistaken. The one may be sold or given, or if there were wealth enough for the purchase or merit for the gift, the other is not a thing for sale, only the gift of the gods.
Which the gods have given you.
By their graces I will keep.
You may wear her in title, yours, but you know, strange fowl light upon neighbouring ponds. Your ring may be stolen too. A cunning thief or a that way accomplished courtier would hazard the winning both of first and last.
Your Italy contains none so accomplished a courtier to convince the honour of my mistress. Holding a loss of that, you term her frail. I do nothing doubt you have stores of thieves. Notwithstanding, I fear not my ring.
With 5 times so much conversation, I should get ground of your fair mistress, make her go back even to the yielding, had I admittance and opportunity to friend.
No.
I dare thereupon pawn the moiety of my estate to your ring, which in my opinion overvalues it something. But I make my wager rather against your confidence than her reputation. And to bar your offence herein too, I durst attempt it against any lady in the world.
What lady would you choose to assail?
Oh, yours, whom in constancy you think stands so safe, I will lay you 10,000 ducats to your name. That commend me to the court where your lady is with no more advantage than the opportunity of a second conference, and I will bring from thence that honour of hers which you imagine so reserved.
My mistress exceeds in goodness the hugeness of your unworthy thinking. I dare you to this match. Here's my ring.
I will have it no lay.
By the gods, it is one. If I bring you no sufficient testimony that I have enjoyed the dearest bodily part of your mistress, my 10,000 ducats are yours. So is your diamond too. If I come off and leave her in such honour as you have trust in, she, your jewel, this, your jewel, and my gold are yours, provided I have your commendation for my more free entertainment.
I embrace these conditions. Let us have articles betwixt us. Only thus far you shall answer. If you make your voyage upon her and give me directly to understand you have prevailed, I'm no further your enemy. She's not worth our debate. If she remain unseduced, you not making it appear otherwise, for your ill opinion and the assault you've made to her chastity, you shall answer me with your sword.
Your hand, a covenant. I will fetch my gold and have our 2 wagers recorded.
Agreed.
Will this hold, think you?
Signor Jachimo will not from it. Pray, let us follow him.
Act 1, Scene 5. Britain, Cymbeline's Palace.
Whiles yet the dew's on ground, gather those flowers. Make haste. Who has the note of them?
I, madam.
Dispatch. Now, Master Doctor, have you brought those drugs?
Pleaseth your highness, here they are, madam. But I beseech your grace, without offence, my conscience bids me ask, wherefore you have commanded of me these most poisonous compounds, which are the movers of a slow and languishing death, but though slow, deadly.
I wonder, Doctor, thou ask'st me such a question. Have I not been thy pupil long? Hast thou not learned me how to make perfumes, distill, preserve, yea, so that our great king himself doth woo me oft for my confections? Having thus far proceeded, unless thou think'st me devilish, is't not meet that I did amplify my judgment and other conclusions. I will try the forces of these thy compounds on such creatures as we count not worth the hanging, but none human, to try the vigor of them, and apply aliments to their act, and by them gather their several virtues and effects.
Your highness shall from this practice but make hard your heart. Besides, the seeing of these effects will be both noisome and infectious.
Oh, content thee. Here comes a flattering rascal. Upon him will I first work. He's for his master and enemy to my son. How now, Pisanio? Doctor, your service for this time is ended. Take your own way. Hark thee, a word.
I do not like her. She doth think she hath a strange lingering poison. I do know her spirit, and will not trust one of her malice with a drug of such damned nature. Though she has, will stupefy and dull the sense a while, which first, perchance, she'll prove on cats and dogs, then afterwards up higher. But there is no danger in what show of death it makes, more than the locking up the spirits a time to be more fresh, reviving. She is fooled with a most false effect, and I the truer, so to be false with her.
No further service, doctor, until I send for thee.
I humbly take my leave.
Weeps she still, say'st thou? Dost thou think in time she will not Quench, and let instructions enter where folly now possesses. Do thou work. When thou shalt bring me word she loves my son, I'll tell thee on the instant thou art then as great as is thy master, greater, for his fortunes all lie speechless, and his name is at last gasp. Return he cannot, nor continue where he is. Thou takest up, thou know'st not what. But take it, for thy labor. It is a thing I made, which hath the king 5 times redeemed from death. I do not know what is more cordial. Nay, I prithee, take it. It is an earnest of a farther good that I mean to thee. Tell thy mistress how the case stands with her. Do it as from thyself. Think what a chance thou changest on. But think, thou hast thy mistress still, to boot, my son, who shall take notice of you. I'll move the king to any shape of thy preferment, such as thou desire, and then myself, I, chiefly, that set thee on to this desert, am bound to load thy merit richly. Call my women, think on my words. A sly and constant knave, not to be shaked, the agent for his master and the remembrancer of her to hold the handfast to her lord. I have given him that which he take, shall quite unpeople her of liegers for her suite, and which she after, except she bend her humour, shall be assured to taste of too. So, well done, well done. The violets, cowslips, and the primroses bear to my closet. Fare thee well, Pisanio. Think on my words.
And shall do. But when to my good lord I prove untrue, I'll choke myself. There's all I'll do for you.
Act 1, Scene 6. Britain, Cymbeline's Palace.
A father cruel and a stepdame false, a foolish suitor, and to a wedded lady that hath her husband banished. Oh, that husband, my supreme crown of grief, and those repeated vexations of it. Had I been thief stolen, as my 2 brothers, happy, but most miserable is the desire that's glorious. Blessed be those how mean soe'er that have their honest wills, which seasons comfort. Who may this be? Fie!
Madam, a noble gentleman of Rome comes from my lord with letters.
Oh, change you, madam. The worthy Leonatus is in safety and greets your highness dearly.
Thanks, good sir. You're kindly welcome.
All of her that is out of door most rich. Oh, if she be furnished with a mind so rare, she alone is the Arabian bird, and I have lost the wager. Oh, boldness be my friend. Arm me audacity from head to foot. Or like the Parthian, I shall flying fight, rather directly fly.
He is one of the noblest note, to whose kindness I am most infinitely tied. Reflect upon him accordingly, as you value your trust. Leonatus. So far I read aloud, but even the very middle of my heart is warmed by the rest, and take it thankfully. You are as welcome, worthy sir, as I have words to bid you, and shall find it so in all that I can do.
Thanks, fairest lady. What, are men mad? Hath nature given them eyes to see this vaulted arch and the rich crop of sea and land? which can distinguish twixt the fiery orbs and the twinned stones upon the numbered beach? And can we not partition make with spectacles so precious twixt fair and foul?
What makes your admiration?
I cannot be the eye. For apes and monkeys twixt two such sheaves would chatter this way and contend with modes the other. Nor is the judgment. For idiots in this case of favour would be wisely definite.
What's the matter, Tro?
The cloyed will, that satiate yet unsatisfied desire, that tub, both filled and running, ravening first the lamb, longs after for the garbage.
What, dear sir, thus raps you? Are you well?
Oh, thanks, madam. Well, beseech you, sir, desire my man's abode where I did leave him. He is strange and peevish.
I was going, sir, to give him welcome.
Continues well, my lord, his health, beseech you.
Well, madam.
Is he disposed to mirth? I hope he is.
Exceeding pleasant. None a stranger there, so merry and so gamesome. He is called the Briton Reveller.
When he was here, he did incline to sadness, and oft times not knowing why.
I never saw him sad. There is a Frenchman, his companion, one an eminent monsieur, that it seems much loves a Gaulian girl at home. He furnaces the thick sighs from him, whilst the jolly Briton, your lord I mean, laughs from his free lungs, cries, "Oh, can my sides hold? To think that man, who knows by history, report, or his own proof, what woman is, yea, what she cannot choose but must be, will his free hours languish for assured bondage?"
Will my lord say so?
Ay, madam, with his eyes in flood with laughter. It is a recreation to be by and hear him mock the Frenchman. But heaven knows, some men are much to blame.
Not he, I hope.
Oh, not he. But yet, heaven's bounty toward him might be used more thankfully. In himself 'tis much, in you, which I account his, beyond all talents. Whilst I am bound to wonder, I am bound to pity too.
What do you pity, sir?
Two creatures, heartily.
Am I one, sir? Why do you pity me?
That others do, I was about to say enjoy your... but it is an office of the gods to venge it, not mine to speak on it.
You do seem to know something of me, or what concerns me. Pray you, since doubting things go ill, often hurts more than to be sure they do, discover to me what both you spur and stop.
Had I this cheek to bathe my lips upon, this hand, whose every touch would force the feeler's soul to the oath of loyalty, this object, which takes prisoner the wild motion of mine eye, firing it only here, should I, damned then slaver, with lips as common as the stairs that mount the Capitol, join grips with hands made hard with hourly falsehood as with labour, then by-peeping in an eye base and illustrous as the smoky light that's fed with stinking tallow, it were fit that all the plagues of hell should at one time encounter such revolt.
My lord, I fear, has forgot Britain.
And himself. Not I, inclined to this intelligence, pronounce the beggary of his change, but 'tis your graces that from my mutest conscience to my tongue charms this report out.
Let me hear no more.
Oh, dearest soul, your cause doth strike my heart with pity that doth make me sick. A lady so fair and fastened to an empery would make the greatest king double. To be partnered with diseased ventures, such boiled stuff as might well poison poison. Be revenged, or that she bore you was no queen, and you recoil from your great stock.
Revenged. How should I be revenged? If this be true, as I have such a heart that both mine ears must not in haste abuse, if it be true, how should I be revenged?
Should he make me live like Diana's priest betwixt cold sheets, whilst he is vaulting variable ramps in your despite upon your purse? Revenge it. I dedicate myself to your sweet pleasure, more notable than that runagate to your bed.
What ho, Pisanio!
Let me my service tender on your lips.
Away! I do condemn mine ears that have so long attended thee. If thou wert honourable, thou wert have told this tale for virtue, not for such an end thou seekest, as base, as strange. Thou wrongst a gentleman, who is far from thy report as thou from honour, and solicits here a lady that disdains thee and the devil alike. What ho, Pisanio! The king, my father, shall be made acquainted of thy assault. He shall think it fit a saucy stranger in his court to mart as in a Romish stew, and to expound his beastly mind to us. He hath a court he little cares for, and a daughter who he not respects at all. What ho, Pisanio!
Oh, happy Leonatus. Give me your pardon. I have spoke this to know if your affiance were deeply rooted, and shall make your lord that which he is new o'er. And he is one the truest mannered, such a holy witch that he enchants societies into him. Half all men's hearts are his.
You make amends.
He sits amongst men like a descended god. He hath a kind of honour sets him off more than a mortal seeming. I have adventured to try your taking of a false report, which hath honoured with confirmation your great judgment in the election of a sir so rare, which you know cannot err. The love I bear him made me to fan you thus, but the gods made you, unlike all others, chaff for us. Pray your pardon.
All's well, sir. Take my power in the court for you.
My humble thanks. Oh, I had almost forgot to entreat your grace, but in a small request, and yet of moment too, for it concerns your lord. Myself and other noble friends are partners in the business.
Pray, what is it?
Some dozen Romans of us, and your lord, the best feather in our wing, have mingled sums to buy a present for the emperor, which I, the factor for the rest, have done in France. 'Tis plate of rare device, and jewels of rich and exquisite form, their values great, and I am something curious, being strange, to have them in safe stowage. May it please you to take them into protection?
Willingly, and pawn mine honour for their safety. Since my lord hath interest in them, I will keep them in my bedchamber.
They are in a trunk, attended by my men. I will make bold to send them to you only for this night. I must abroad tomorrow.
Oh, no.
Yes, I beseech, or I shall short my word by lengthening my return. From Gallia I crossed the seas on purpose and on promise to see your grace.
I thank you for your pains, but not away tomorrow.
Oh, I must, madam. Therefore I shall beseech you, if you please, to greet your lord with writing. Do it tonight. I have outstood my time, which is material to the tender of our present.
I will write. Send your trunk to me. It shall safe be kept and truly yielded to you. You're very welcome.
Act 2, Scene 2. Britain, Cymbeline's palace.
Oh! Was there ever a man had such luck? When I kissed the jack upon an upcast to be hit away, Oh, I had £100 on it, and then a whoreson jackanapes must take me up for swearing, as if I'd borrowed mine oaths of him and might not spend them at my pleasure.
Got he by that? You have broke his pate with your bowl.
If his wit had been like him that broke it, it would have run all out.
When a gentleman is disposed to swear, it is not for any standers-by to curtail his oaths, huh?
No, my lord, nor crop the ears of them.
Whoreson dog! I gave him satisfaction. Would he have been one of my rank?
To have smelled like a fool.
Pox on it! I had rather not be so noble as I am. They dare not fight with me because of the queen, my mother. Oh, every jack slave have his belly full of fighting, and I must go up and down like a cock that nobody can match.
You are cock, and capon too, and you crow cock with your comb on.
Sayest thou?
It is not fit your lordship should undertake every companion that you give offence to.
No, I know that, but it is fit that I should commit offence to my inferiors.
Aye, it is fit for your lordship only.
Why, so I say.
Did you hear of a stranger that's come to court tonight?
A stranger? And I know not on it.
He is a strange fellow himself and knows it not.
There's an Italian come, and 'tis thought one of Leonatus' friends.
Leonatus, a banished rascal, and he's another, whatsoever he be. Who told you of this stranger?
One of your lordship's pages.
Come, I'll go see this Italian. What I have lost today at bowls, I'll win tonight of him. Come, go.
I'll attend your lordship. That such a crafty devil as is his mother should yield up the world, this ass, a woman that bears all down with her brain, and this her son cannot take 2 from 20 for his heart and leave 18. Alas, poor princess, thou divine Imogen, the heavens hold firm the walls of thy dear honour. Keep unshaked that temple, that fair mind, that thou mayst stand to enjoy thy banished lord in this great land.
Act 2, Scene 2. Britain, Cymbeline's palace.
Who's there? My woman, Helen.
Please you, madam.
What hour is it?
Almost midnight, madam.
I've read 3 hours then. Mine eyes are weak. Fold down the leaf where I have left. To bed. Take not away the taper, leave it burning. And if thou canst awake by 4 of the clock, I prithee call me. Sleep hath seized me wholly. To your protection I commend me, gods. From fairies and the tempters of the night, guard me, beseech ye.
Crickets sing, and man's o'erlaboured sense repairs itself by rest.
Our Tarquin thus did softly
pressed the rushes, ere he wakened the chastity he wounded. Fresh lily, and whiter than the sheets. I might touch. But kiss. One kiss. Rubies unparagoned, how dearly they do it. 'Tis her breathing that perfumes the chamber thus. The flame of the taper bows towards her, and would underpeep her lids to see the enclosed lights, now canopied under these windows, white and azure laced with blue of heaven's own tinct. But my design, to note the chamber, I will write down. Such pictures, there the window, such the adornment of her bed, the arras, figures why such and such, and the contents of the story. But some natural notes about her body, above 10,000 meaner movables, would testify to enrich mine inventory. Sleep, thou ape of death, lie dull upon her, and be her sense but as a monument, thus in a chapel lying. Come off, as slippery as the Gordian knot was hard. 'Tis mine, and this will witness outwardly as strongly as the conscience does within to the madding of her lord. On her left breast, a mole, zinc spotted like the crimson drops at the bottom of a cowslip. Here's a voucher, stronger than ever law could make. This secret will force him think I have picked the lock and taken the treasure of her honour. No more. No. To what end? Why should I write this down that's riveted, screwed to my memory? She hath been reading late. The tale of Tereus. Here, the leaves turned down, where Philomel gave up. I have enough. To the trunk again, and shut the spring of it. Swift, you dragons of the night, the dawning might bear the raven's eye. I lodge in fear of this a heavenly angel. Hell is here. 1, 2, 3. Time.
to Scene 3, Britain, Cymbeline's Palace.
Your lordship is the most patient man in loss, the most coldest that ever turned up ace.
Well, it would make any man cold to lose. Winning will put any man into courage. If I could get this foolish Imogen, I should have gold enough. It's almost morning, isn't it?
Yea, my lord.
I would this music would come. I am advised to give her music a mornings. They say it will penetrate. Oh, come on, tune. Now, if you can penetrate her with your fingering, so we'll try with tongue too. If none will do, let her remain, but I'll never give over.
Hark, hark, the lark at heaven's gate sings, and Phoebus gives arise his steeds to water at those springs on chaliced flowers that lies. And winking merry buds begin to ope their golden eyes with everything that pretty is. My lady sweet, arise, arise, arise.
Get you gone. If this penetrate, I will consider your music the better. If it do not, well, it is a vice in her ears. If she be up, I'll speak with her. If not, let her lie still and dream. By your leave, ho! I know her women are about her. What if I do line one of their hands? 'Tis gold which buys admittance, oft it doth, yea, and makes Diana's rangers false themselves, yield up their deer to the stand, or the stealer, and 'tis gold which makes the true man killed and saves the thief, nay, sometimes hangs both thief and true man. What can it not do and undo? I will make one of her women lawyer to me, for I yet do not understand the case myself. By your leave.
Who's there that knocks?
Oh, a gentleman.
No more?
Yes, and a gentlewoman's son.
That's more than some whose tailors are as dear as yours can justly boast of. What's your lordship's pleasure?
Your lady's person, is she ready?
Aye, to keep her chamber.
There is gold for you. Sell me your good report.
How? My good name? Or to report of you what I should think is good. The princess.
By your leave. Oh, good morrow, fairest. Sister, your sweet hand.
Good morrow, sir. You lay out too much pains for purchasing but trouble. The thanks I give is telling you that I am poor of thanks, and scarce can spare them.
Still I swear, I love you.
If you but said 'tis so, 'twere as deep with me. If you swear still, you recompense is still that I regard it not.
Yay.
This is no answer.
But that you shall not say I yield being silent, I would not speak. I pray you spare me. Faith, I shall unfold equal discourtesy to your best kindness. One of your great knowing should learn being taught forbearance.
To leave you in your madness, 'twere my sin. I will not.
Fools are not mad folks.
Do you call me fool?
As I am mad, I do. If you'll be patient, I'll no more be mad. That cures us both. I am much sorry, sir, you put me to forget a lady's manners by being so verbal, and learn now for all that I, which know my heart, do here pronounce by the very truth of it. I care not for you, and am so near the lack of charity to accuse myself I hate you, which I had rather you felt than make it my boast.
You sin against obedience, which you owe your father, for the contract you pretend with that base wretch, one bred of arms and fostered with cold dishes, with scraps of the court. It is no contract, none. And though it be allowed in meaner parties, yet you are curbed from that enlargement by the consequence of the crown, and must not foil the precious note of it with a base slave, a hilding for a livery, a squire's cloth, a pantler not so eminent.
Profane fellow! Wert thou the son of Jupiter, and no more but what thou art besides, thou wert too base to be his groom. If thou wert dignified enough, even to the point of envy, if 'twere made comparative for your virtues, to be styled the under hangman of his kingdom, and hated for being preferred so well.
The south fog rot him!
He never can meet more mischance than come to be but named of thee. His meanest garment, that ever hath but clipped his body, is dearer in my respect than all the hairs above thee. Were they all made such men? How now, Pisanio?
His garments, now the devil!
Dorothy, my woman, highly presently.
Garment!
I am spirited with a fool, frightened and angered worse. Go, bid my woman search for a jewel that too casually hath left mine arm. It was thy master's. Shrew me if I would lose it for a revenue of any kings in Europe. I do think I saw it this morning. Confident I am. Last night was on mine arm. I kissed it. I hope it be not gone to tell my lord that I kiss aught but he.
Will not be lost.
I hope so. Go and search.
You have abused me, his meanest garment.
I said so, sir. If you will make it an action, call witness to it.
I will inform your father.
Your mother too. She's my good lady, and will conceive, I hope, but the worst of me. So, I leave you, sir, to the worst of discontent.
I'll be revenged. His meanest garment. What?
Act 2, Scene 4. Rome, Belarius' house.
Fear it not, sir. I was so sure to win the king, as I'm bold her honour will remain hers.
What means do you make to him?
Not any, but abide the change of time, quake in the present winter's state, and wish that warmer days would come.
By this your king hath heard of great Augustus. Caius Lucius will do his commission thoroughly, and I think he'll grant the tribute, send the arrearages, or look upon our Romans, whose remembrance is yet fresh in their grief.
I do believe that this would prove a war. Our countrymen are men more ordered than when Julius Caesar smiled at their lack of skill, but found their courage worthy his frowning at. Their discipline, now mingled with their courages, will make known to their approvers their people such that mend upon the world.
Ah, si, Jachimo.
I hope the briefness of your answer made the speediness of your return.
Your lady is one of the fairest that I have looked upon.
And there with all the best, or let her beauty look through a casement to allure false hearts and be false with them.
Here are the letters for you.
Their tenor good, I trust.
It is very like.
Was Caius Lucius in the Britain court when you were there?
He was expected then, but not approached.
All is well yet. Sparkles the stone as it wont, or it's not too dull for your good wearing.
If I have lost it, I should have lost the worth of it in gold. I'll make a journey twice as far to enjoy a second night of such sweet shortness, which was mine in Britain. The ring is won.
The stone's too hard to come by.
Not a whit. Your lady being so easy.
Make not, sir, your loss your sport. I hope you know we must not continue friends.
Oh, good sir, we must, if you keep covenant. Had I not brought the knowledge of your mistress home, I grant we were to question farther, but I now profess myself the winner of her honour, together with your ring, and not the wronger of her, of you, having proceeded but by both your wills.
If you make to parent that you've tasted her in bed, my hand and ring is yours. If not, the foul opinion you had of her pure honour gains or loses your sword or mine, or masterless leave us both to who shall find them.
Sir, my circumstances being so near the truth as I will make them must first induce you to believe.
Proceed.
First, her bedchamber, where I confess I slept not, but profess had that was well worth watching. It was hanged with tapestry of silk and silver. Yeah, the story, proud Cleopatra, when she met her Roman and Cydnus swelled above the banks, or for the press of boats or pride, a piece of work so bravely done, so rich that it did strive in workmanship and value, which I wondered could be so rarely and exactly wrought, since the true life on it was just
true. And this you might have heard of here by me or by some other.
More particulars must justify my knowledge.
So they must, or do your honour injury.
The chimney is south the chamber, and the chimney piece, chaste Diane bathing. Never saw I figures so likely to report themselves. The cutter was as another nature. Dumb, out went her, motion and breath left out.
This is a thing which you might from relation likewise reap, being as it is much smoke off.
The roof of the chamber with golden cherubims is fretted. Her andirons, I had forgot them, were two winking cupids of silver, each on 1 foot standing nicely, depending on their brands.
This is her honour. Let it be granted you've seen all this, and praise be given to your remembrance. The description of what is in her chamber, nothing saves the wager you have laid.
Then, if you can, be pale. I beg but leave to air this jewel. See? Now 'tis up again. It must be married to that, your diamond. I'll keep them.
Jove, once more, let me behold it. Is it that which I left with her?
Well, sir, I thank her that. She stripped it from her arm. I see her yet. Oh, her pretty action did outsell her gift, and yet enriched it too. She gave it me and said she prized it once.
Maybe she plucked it off to send it me.
She writes so to you, doth she?
Oh. No. No, 'tis true. Here, take this too. 'Tis a basilisk unto mine eye. Kills me to look on't. Let there be no honour where there's beauty, truth where semblance, love where there's another man. The vows of women of no more bondage be to where they are made than they are to their virtues, which is nothing, above measure false.
Have patience, sir. Take your ring again. 'Tis not yet won. It may be probable she lost it, or who knows if one of her women, being corrupted, hath stolen it from her.
Very true. and so I hope he came by it. Back my ring. Render to me some corporal sign about her, more evident than this, for this was stolen.
By Jupiter, I had it from her arm.
Hark you, he swears. By Jupiter, he swears. 'Tis true. Nay, keep the ring, 'tis true. I'm sure she would not lose it. Her attenders are all sworn and honourable. They induced to steal it, and by a stranger. No, he hath enjoyed her. The cognizance of her incontinency is this. She had bought the name of whore thus dearly. There, take thy hire, and all the fiends of hell divide themselves between you.
Sir, be patient. This is not strong enough to be believed of one persuaded well of.
Never talk on't. She had been courted by him.
If you seek for further satisfying, under her breast, worthy the pressing, lies a mole, right proud of that most delicate lodging. By my life, I kissed it, and it gave me present hunger to feed again, though full. Oh, you do remember this stain upon her?
Aye. It doth confirm another stain, as big as hell can hold, were there no more but it.
Will you hear more?
Oh, that I had her here to tear the meal! I will go there and do it, in the court, before his father. I'll do something.
Quite besides the government of patience. You have won. Let's follow him and pervert the present wrath he hath against himself.
With all my heart.
Act 2, Scene 5. Rome, Belarius' house.
Is there no way for men to be? But women must be half workers. We're all bastards. When I was stamped, some coiner with his tools made me a counterfeit, yet my mother seemed the Diane of that time. So doth my wife, the nonpareil of this. Oh, vengeance, vengeance. Me of my lawful pleasure she restrained, and prayed me of forbearance, that I thought her as chaste as unsun snow. Oh, the devils, this yellow Jachimo. In an hour, was not, or less. At first, perchance he spoke not, but like a full acorn boar, a German one, cried, "Oh!" and mounted. Could I find the woman's part in me? For there's no motion that tends to vice in men. But I affirm it is the woman's part. Be it lying, note it, the woman's, flattering, hers, deceiving, hers, lust and rank thoughts, hers revenges, hers ambitions, covetings, change of prize, disdain, all faults that name, nay, that hell knows. Why hers, in part or all? I'll write against them, detest them, curse them. Yet 'tis greater skill in a true hate to pray they have their will. The very devils cannot plague them better.
Act 3, Scene 1. Britain, Cymbeline's palace.
Now say, what would Augustus Caesar with us?
When Julius Caesar was in Britain and conquered it, Cassibelan, thine uncle, famous in Caesar's praises, no whit less than in his feats deserving it, for him and his succession granted Rome a tribute, yearly £3,000, which by thee lately is left untendered.
And to kill the marvel, shall be so ever.
There be many Caesars ere such a Julius. Britain's a world by itself, and we will nothing pay for wearing our own noses.
Remember the kings, your ancestors, together with the natural bravery of your isle, which stands as Neptune's park, ribbed and paled in with oaks unscalable, and roaring waters, with sands that will not bear your enemies' boats, but suck them up to the topmast. A kind of conquest Caesar made here, but made not here his brag of came and saw and overcame with shame. The first that ever touched him, he was carried from off our coast, twice beaten, for joy whereof the famed Cymbeline, who was once at point, O giglet fortune to master Caesar's sword, made Ludstown with rejoicing fires bright, and Britain strut with courage.
Come, there's no more tribute to be paid. Our kingdom is stronger than it was at that time.
Son, let your mother end.
Why should we pay tribute? If Caesar can hide the sun from us with a blanket or put the moon in his pocket, we will pay him tribute for light. Else, sir, no more tribute, pray you now.
You must know, till the injurious Romans did extort the tribute from us, we were free. Caesar's ambition, which swelled so much that it did almost stretch the sides of the world, against all colour here did put the yoke upon us, which to shake off becomes a warlike people, whom we reckon ourselves to be.
We do.
We say so then to Caesar, though Rome be therefore anger.
I am sorry, Cymbeline, that I am to pronounce Augustus Caesar, Caesar that hath more kings his servants than thyself domestic officers, thine enemy. Receive it from me. War and confusion in Caesar's name pronounce I against thee. Look for fury not to be resisted. Thus defied, I thank thee for myself.
I know your master's pleasure, and he mine. All that remain is welcome.
Act 3, Scene 2. Britain, Cymbeline's palace.
How of adultery? Wherefore write you not what monsters her accuse? Leonatus, oh master, what a strange infection is fallen into thy ear. What false Italian, as poison-tongued as handed, hath prevailed on thy too ready hearing? Oh, disloyal, no! She's punished for her truth. Oh, my master, thy mind to her is now as low as were thy fortunes. How that I should murder her upon the love and truth and vows which I have made to thy command. Her blood. If it be so to do good service, never let me be counted serviceable. Do it, the letter I have sent her by her own command shall give thee opportunity. Oh, damned paper! Black as the ink that's on thee. Lo, here she comes. I am ignorant in what I am commanded.
How now, Pisanio?
Madam, here is a letter from thy lord.
Who? Thy lord? That is my lord Leonatus. Oh, learned indeed were that astronomer that knew the stars as I his characters. He'd lay the future open. You good gods, let what is here contained relish of love, of my lord's health, of his content, yet not that we two are asunder. Let that grieve him. Justice and your father's wrath, should he take me in his dominion, could not be so cruel to me as you. Oh, the dearest of creatures would even renew me with your eyes. Take notice that I am in Cambria, at Milford Haven. What your own love will out of this advise you follow. So he wishes you all happiness that remains loyal to his vow, and you're increasing in love. Leonatus Posthumus! Oh, for a horse with wings! Hearest thou, Pisanio? He is at Milford Haven! Say, how far it is to the same blessed Milford? Oh, but first of all, how may we steal from hence, and for the gap that we shall make in time from our hence going and our return to excuse? But first, how get hence? How many score of miles may we well rid twixt hour and hour?
1 score twixt sun and sun, madam's enough for you, and too much too.
Go. Bid my woman feign a sickness. Say she'll home to her father, and provide me presently a riding suit.
Madam, your best consider.
I see before me, man, nor here, nor what ensues, but have a fog in them that I cannot look through. Away, I prithee, do as I bid thee. There's no more to say. Accessible is none but Milford way.
Act 3, Scene 3. Wales, the Mountain Cave.
Oh, stoop, boys! This gate instructs you how to adore the heavens and bows you to a morning's holy office. Hail thou, foul heaven! We house i' the rock, yet use thee not so hardily as proud livers do.
Hail heaven!
Hail heaven!
Now, for mountain sport. Up to yond hill, your legs are young. I'll tread these flats. Oh, this life is nobler than attending for a check, richer than doing nothing for a robe, prouder than rustling in unpaid for silk. Such gain the cap of him that makes him fine, yet keeps his books uncrossed. Oh, no life to ours.
Out of your proof you speak. We poor unfledged have never winged from view of the nest, nor know not what airs from home. Happily, this life is best, if quiet life be best. Sweeter to you that have a sharper known. Well corresponding with your stiff age, but unto us it is a cell of ignorance.
Well, what should we speak of when we are as old as you? When we shall hear the rain and wind beat dark December, how in this our pinching cave shall we discourse the freezing hours away? We have seen nothing. We are beastly, subtle as the fox for prey, like warlike as the wolf for what we eat. Our valor is to chase what flies.
How you speak! Did you but know the city's usuries and felt them knowingly? The art of the court, as hard to leave as keep whose top to climb, is certain falling, nay, many times. Doth it deserve doing well? What's worse, must curtsy at the censure. Oh, boys, this story the world may read in me. My body's marked with Roman swords, and my report was once first with the best of note. Cymbeline loved me, and when a soldier was the theme, my name was not far off. Then was I as a tree whose boughs did bend with fruit, but in one night a storm or robbery, call it what you will, shook down my mellow hangings, nay, my leaves, and left me bare to weather.
Uncertain favour.
My fault being nothing, as I have told you oft, but that 2 villains, whose false oaths prevailed before my perfect honour, swore to Cymbeline I was confederate with the Romans, so followed my banishment. And this 20 years, this rock and these domains have been my world, where I has lived at honest freedom, paid more pious debts to heaven than in all the forend of my time. Oh, but up to the mountains. This is not hunter's language. He that strikes the venison first shall be the lord of the feast. To him the other 2 shall minister, and we will fear no poison which attends in place of great estate. I'll meet you in the valleys. How hard it is to hide the sparks of nature. Those boys, know little they are sons to the king, nor Cymbeline dreams they are alive. They think they are mine, and though trained up thus meanly i' the cave wherein they bow, their thoughts do hit the roofs of palaces. This Polydore, the heir of Cymbeline and Britain, who the king his father called Guiderius, Jove! When on my 3-foot stool I sit and tell the warlike feats I have done, his spirits fly out into my story, say, thus mine enemy fell, and thus I set my foot on's neck. Even then the princely blood flows in his cheeks. He sweats, strains his young nerves, and puts himself in posture that acts my words. The younger brother, Cadwell, once Arviragus, is as like a figure, strikes life into my speech and shows much more his own convincing. The game is roused. Oh, Cymbeline, heaven and my conscience knows thou didst unjustly banish me, whereon at 3 and 2 years old I stole these babes, thinking to bar thee of succession, as thou reft'st me of my lands. Euryphile, thou wast their nurse, took thee for their mother, and every day do honour her grave. Myself, Belarius, that Imogen called, they take for natural father. The game is up.
Act 3, Scene 4, Wales, near Milford Haven.
Thou toldst me when we came from horse, the place was near at hand. Ne'er longed my mother so to see me first as I have now. Pisanio, man, where is Posthumus? What's the matter? Why tenderest thou that paper to me with a look untender? My husband's hand. That damned drugged Italy hath outcrafted him, and he's at some hard point. Speak, man, thy tongue may take off some extremity, which to read would be even mortal to me.
And you shall find me wretched, man, a thing the most disdained of fortune.
My mistress, Pisanio, hath played the strumpet in my bed. The testimonies whereof lie bleeding in me. I speak not out of weak surmises, but from proof, as strong as my grief, and as certain as I expect my revenge. That part thou, Pisanio, must act for me, if thy faith be not tainted with the breach of hers. Let thine own hands take away her life. I shall give thee opportunity at Milford Haven. She hath my letter for the purpose, where, if thou fear to strike and to make me certain it is done, thou art the pander to her dishonour and equally to me disloyal.
What? Shall I need to draw my sword? The paper hath cut her throat already. No, 'tis slander.
False to his bed. What is it to be false, to lie in watch there and to think on him, to weep twixt clock and clock? If sleep charge nature to break it with a fearful dream of him and cry myself awake, that's to be false to his bed, is it?
Alas, good lady.
Aye, false! Thy conscience witness. Jachimo, thou didst accuse him of incontinency. Thou then look'st like a villain, now methinks thy favour's good enough. Some jay of Italy, whose mother was her painting, hath betrayed him. Poor I am stale, a garment out of fashion. And for I am richer than to hang by the walls, I must be ripped to pieces with me. Oh, men's vows are women's traitors. All good seeming by thy revolt. Oh, husband, shall be thought put on for villainy, not born where it grows, but worn a bait for ladies.
Madam, hear me.
Come, fellow, be thou honest. Do thy master's bidding. when thou seest him, a little witness my obedience. Look, I draw the sword myself. Take it, and hit the innocent mansion of my love. My heart, fear not. 'Tis empty of all things, but grief. Thy master is not there, who was indeed the riches of it. Do his bidding. Strike!
Next vile instrument! Thou shalt not damn my hand.
Why, I must die. And if I do not by thy hand, thou art no servant of thy master's. Come, here's my heart. Some things are for it. Soft, soft will no defence. Obedient as the scabbard. What's this here? The scriptures of the loyal Leonatus, all turned to heresy. Away! Away! Corrupters of my faith! Prithee, dispatch. The lamb entreats the butcher. Where's thy knife? Thou art too slow to do thy master's bidding when I desire it too.
This lady, since I received command to do this business, I have not slept one wink.
Do it, and to bed then.
I'll wake my eyeballs out first.
Wherefore then didst undertake it? Why hast thou abused so many miles with a pretence? This mine action and thine own.
But to win time to lose so bad employment, in the which I have considered of a course. Good lady, hear me with patience.
Talk thy tongue weary, speak. I have heard I am a strumpet, and mine ear therein false struck can take no greater wound, nor tent to bottom that. But speak!
It cannot be, but that my master is abused. Some villain, aye, and singular in his art, hath done you both this cursed injury.
Roman courtesan.
No, on my life. I'll give but notice you are dead, and send him some bloody sign of it, for 'tis commanded I should do so. You shall be missed at court, and that will well inform it.
Why, good fellow, what shall I do the while? Where bide? How live? Or in my life what comfort when I am dead to my husband?
Back the court?
No, no court. No father, nor no more ado with that harsh, noble, simple, nothing, that Cloten, whose love suit hath been to me as fearful as a siege.
Not at court, then not in Britain must you bide.
Where then? Hath Britain all the sun that shines? Day, night, are they not but in Britain?
I'm most glad you think of other place. The ambassador, Lucius the Roman, comes to Milford Haven tomorrow. Now, if you could wear a mind dark as your fortune is, and but disguise that which to appear itself must not yet be. But by self-danger, you should tread a course pretty and full of view, yea, happily, near the residence of Posthumus, so nigh at least, that though his actions were not visible, yet report should render him hourly to your ear as truly as he moves.
Oh, for such means, though peril to my modesty, not death on't, I would adventure.
Well then, here's my point. You must forget to be a woman.
I see to thy end, and am almost a man already.
First, make yourself but like one. For thinking this, I have already fit. 'Tis in my cloak bag, doublet, hat, hose, all that answers to them. For noble Lucius, present yourself, desire his service, tell him wherein you're happy, which will make him know, if that his head have ear in music. Doubtless, with joy, he will embrace you. Your means abroad. You have me, rich, and I will never fail beginning nor supplement.
This attempt I am soldier to, and will abide it with a prince's courage. Away, prithee.
Well, madam, we must take a short farewell, lest being missed I be suspected of your carriage from the court. My noble mistress, here is a box. I had it from the Queen. What's in it's precious. If you are sick at sea, or stomach qualmed at land, a dram of this will drive away distemper to some shade and fit you to your manhood. May the gods direct you to the best.
Amen. I thank thee.
Act 3, Scene 5. Britain, Cymbeline's palace.
Thus far, and so farewell.
Thanks, royal sir. My emperor hath wrote, I must from hence, and I'm right sorry that I must report ye my master's enemy.
Our subjects, sir, will not endure his yoke, and for ourselves to show less sovereignty than they must needs appear unkinglike.
So, sir, I desire of you a conduct overland to Milford Haven. Madam, all joy before your grace and you.
My lords, you are appointed for that office. The due of honour in no point omit. So farewell, noble Lucius.
Your hand, my lord.
Receive it friendly, but from this time forth I wear it as your enemy.
Sir, the event is yet to name the winner. Fare you well.
Leave not the worthy Lucius, good my lord, till he have crossed the Severn. Happiness.
He goes hence frowning, but it honours us that we have given him cause.
'Tis all the better. Your valiant Britons have their wishes in it.
Lucius hath already wrote to the emperor how it goes here. It fits us, therefore, ripely our chariots and our horsemen be in readiness.
'Tis not sleepy business, but must be looked to speedily and strongly.
Our expectation that it would be thus hath made us forward. But my gentle queen, where is our daughter? She hath not appeared before the Roman, nor to us hath tendered the duty of the day. She looks us like a thing more made of malice than of duty. We have noted it. Call her before us, for we have been too slight in sufferance.
Royal sir, since the exile of Posthumus, most retired hath her life been, the cure whereof, my lord, 'tis time must do. Beseech your majesty, forbear sharp speeches to her. She's a lady so tender of rebukes that words are strokes, and strokes death to her.
Where is she, sir? How can her contempt be answered?
Please you, sir, her chambers are all locked, and there's no answer that will be given to the loudest of noise we make.
My lord, when last I went to visit her, she prayed me to excuse her keeping close, whereto, constrained by her infirmity, she should that duty leave unpaid to you, which daily she was bound to proffer.
Her doors unlocked? Not seen of late? Grant heavens that which I fear prove false.
Son, I say, follow the king.
That man of hers, Pisanio, her old servant, I have not seen these 2 days.
Go, look after. Pisanio, thou that standst so for Posthumus. He hath a drug of mine. I pray his absence proceed by swallowing that, for he believes it is a thing most precious. But for her, where is she gone? Haply despair hath seized her, or winged with fervour of her love, she's flown to her desired Posthumus. Gone she is, to death or to dishonour, and my end can make good use of either. She being down, I have the placing of the British crown. How now, my son?
'Tis certain she is fled. Go in and cheer the king. He rages. None dare come about him.
All the better. May this night forestall him of the coming day.
I love and hate her, for she's fair and royal, and that she hath all courtly parts more exquisite than ladies, woman. From every one the best she hath, and she of all compounded outsells them all. I love her therefore, but disdaining me and throwing favours on the low Posthumus, slanders so her judgment that what's else rare is choked. And in that point I will conclude to hate her, nay, indeed, to be revenged upon her. For when fools... Who is here? What? Are you packing, Sirrah? Come hither. Oh, you precious pander. Villain, where is thy lady? In a word, or else thou straightway with the fiends.
Oh, my good lord.
Where is thy lady? Or by Jupiter, I will not ask again. Close, villain. I'll have this secret from thy heart, or rip thy heart to find it. Is she with Posthumus? For who so many weights of baseness cannot a dram of worth be drawn?
Alas, my lord, how can she be with him? When was she best? He is in Rome.
Where is she, sir? Come nearer. No farther halting. Satisfy me home. What is become of her?
My all-worthy lord!
All-worthy villain! Speak, or thy silence on the instant is thy condemnation and thy death.
Then, sir, this paper is the history of my knowledge touching her flight.
Let's see it. I will pursue her even to Augustus' throne.
This or perish. Far enough, and what he learns by this may prove his travel, not her danger.
Ha!
I'll write to my lord she's dead. Oh, Imogen, safe mayest thou wander, safe return again.
Sirrah, is this letter true?
Sir, as I think.
It is Posthumus' hand. I know it. Sirrah, if thou wouldst not be a villain, but do me true service, that is, what villainy soever I bid thee do, to perform it directly and truly, I would think thee an honest man. Thou shouldst not neither want for my means, nor for thy relief, nor my voice for thy preferment.
Well, my good lord.
Wilt thou serve me? For since patiently and constantly thou hast stuck to the bare fortune of that beggar Posthumus, thou canst not, in the course of gratitude, but be a diligent follower of mine. Wilt thou serve me?
Sir, I will.
Give me thy hand. Here's my purse. Hast any of thy late master's garments in thy possession?
I have, my lord, at my lodging, the same suit he wore when he took leave of my lady and mistress.
The first service thou dost me, fetch that suit hither. Let it be thy first service. Go!
I shall, my lord.
Meet me at Milford Haven. Even there, thou villain Posthumus, will I kill thee. I would these garments were come. She said upon a time that she held the very garment of Posthumus in more respect than my noble and natural person, together with the adornment of my qualities. With that suit upon my back will I ravish her, first kill him, and in her eyes there shall she see my valour, which will then be a torment to her contempt. And when my lust hath dined, which, as I say, to vex her, I will execute in the clothes that she so praised. To the court I'll knock her back, foot her home again. Be those the garments?
Aye, my noble lord.
How long is it since she went to Milford Haven?
She can scarce be there yet.
My revenge is now at Milford. Would I had wings to follow it. Come, and be true.
Thou biddest me to my loss. For true to thee were to prove false, which I will never be, to him that is most true. To Milford go, and find not her whom thou pursuest. Flow, flow, you heavenly blessings on her. This fool's speed be crossed with slowness. Labour be his meed.
Grandlings, this is your 5-minute interval. You now have 5 minutes to refresh your drinks, refresh yourselves, and prepare for the second half. Please like this video, subscribe to the channel, post your reactions using the hashtag #ShowMustGoOnline, and tag us at TSMG Online Live on Twitter or at the Show Must Go Online on Insta and Facebook. A reminder of our wonderful game for tonight. Please shout out the references that Shakespeare is making to his other works as they occur in the play. And now, Ruth Page, I believe you have an update for us from our Patreon.
Yes, I do. As always, a huge, huge thank you to all of our patrons and your continued support of the series. It means the world to every single one of us. So thank you, thank you, thank you for your generosity. We have a few names to shout out this week who have joined our Patreon family. So a big thank you to LJH, Maggie, Per H and Rebecca P. But it is never too late to join in the fun. So if you're new to the Show Must Go Online, hello, welcome. Thank you so much for joining us. Everyone involved in this project works entirely voluntary, and all of us have lost work and face a really uncertain future as a result of the pandemic. So if you would like to tip your actors and creatives this evening, this morning, this afternoon, wherever you are in the world, then head on over to our Patreon page at www.patreon.com/theshowmustgoonline. The link is in the description box, so it's super easy to get there. You can give as little or as much as you like per month, or you can do a one-off donation, which is appreciated just as much. And in return, you can get access to exclusive TSMGO content that you will not find anywhere else. Last week, we had a couple of vlogs from our cast members in The Winter's Tale. We also have interviews up there, prop tutorials, loads of stuff. So come and join us on the Patreon for even more TSMGO goodness. And as always, if you want to sport your very own Show Must Go Online t-shirt, mug, mask, or bag, or clock, we have a full Redbubble shop full of official TSMGO merchandise that you can get your hands on right now, including prints of amazing artwork inspired by the series and created by the wonderfully talented Carly Sponzo. Just like the Patreon, all the profits are put into our opt-in hardship fund, which directly supports the actors and creatives that you are seeing today, as well as Carly herself. All you need to do is head to that description box below for the link, which will take you directly to the Redbubble shop. And whilst you're headed down there, give us a like, give us a subscribe, and follow us along for our last 2 shows of the series.
Thank you so much, Ruth. Much appreciated. And now I'd like to welcome back to the interval Tanvi Virmani, who is going to introduce our wonderful, or rather interview our wonderful guest introducer, Sawyer Kemp. Sawyer, would you like to join us? Thank you so much. And I'll leave you to it. Thanks so much, both.
Thank you so much for rejoining us again, Sawyer. So I see that you've researched into transgender Shakespeare performances.
Yes.
This is a topic that I'm not familiar with, but I'd love to learn more about. Can you share with me and our audience some of the things that you've discovered in your research?
Sure. Well, obviously, Shakespeare in general tends to attract a lot of conversation and comment about gender, partially because, as many / maybe all of us know, right, that the female parts were played by boy actors, but also because Shakespeare just has cross-dressing as a plot device in a lot of his plays. So in the past, critics of the theater and English scholars have kind of spent a lot of time talking about the figure of the transvestite or the use of cross-dressing, or the figure of the hermaphrodite also gets thrown around a bit, including for this play where if Imogen is meant to stand for Britain, who's like under constant threat of assault as a figure of womanhood, right? But then becomes more masculine over the course of the play and kind of messes with that binary a little bit. So I was kind of curious about how more recently, as sort of trans rights have become more commonplace and trans identities have become a little bit more fleshed out and grounded out by people who are actually trans. This sort of rhetoric that we've had in the past about transvestism, there's just sort of this attempt to kind of wheat paste the word transgender over that. And so I was kind of interested in saying, what's the use of that? In addition to finding what's historically accurate about the early modern period, I want to figure out a way to be attentive and careful and historically accurate about what trans means in the present, right? So to that end, I've found that there is a tendency for Shakespeare plays to talk about gender bending in the plays and these characters who are cross-dressed women who might potentially be trans masculine or trans, while at the same time it's much more difficult for trans people to become actors and participate in that active representation. So a lot of my work is kind of teasing out what parts of Shakespeare seem like they don't really jive with a contemporary sense of transgender, and what other things might be more productive if we looked at them. So for instance, in this play, and I noticed that there was a cut to a couple of Pisanio's lines, but he has an extended bit where he tells Imogen, you must forget to be a woman, you've got to really play it up, ham it up, and be a kind of swaggery, bravado man. Whereas the kind of common, what would you say, like common sense approach that most trans people give each other is lay low, keep a low profile, talk as little as you can, and just kind of slip under the radar. So that's a really big difference when we talk about like passing and safety. So yeah, I guess that's a bit of the start of it.
That's really, really interesting. It's something that's just never, I'm really not that familiar with, especially in Shakespeare,
Yeah, well, and it's curious because if we're thinking about kind of like contemporary social justice issues around gender and trans people, some of the things that people talk about are trans people being expelled from their home from their parents, right? Which actually is something that a lot of these cross-dressing heroines have to contend with. Like Imogen leaves, but is kind of forced out of her home. Rosalind is thrown out of her home. Viola in Twelfth Night is shipwrecked and kind of abandoned and has to seek safety. So there's a lot of things that are kind of interesting if we look at them as, what if instead of thinking about clothing, we were thinking about homelessness as a trans issue?
Yeah. It's so, oh my gosh, yeah. I'm sorry, I didn't expect it seems now almost so apparent to me that these themes are there.
It's fun to look for.
Yeah, and the industry, we are starting to it is starting to cross over. There's females playing like Maxine Peake playing Hamlet. So right. I'm just really you made me now really stoked. Just it's some transgender representation.
It's fun to think about the capacity for like what a trans actor might bring to a role, both in terms of how they might interpret that character as a trans character, and also just like what things we're not thinking about, because the work of that gender analysis kind of has been done by mostly by cis actors, and kind of created like a false idea of what trans people and trans bodies are.
Yeah, and I just have one. I wish I could talk to you about this for longer. I really am thrilled. Just to end, what do you think is the biggest message that this representation sends to an audience, a Shakespearean
That transgender representation in general, or for Cymbeline more specifically?
Yes, yeah. Or just in any audience, theatre audience. We see it a lot in film, but not.
I think that in some of my research, I read reviews from theater critics and sort of audience responses to plays. And I think it's funny because I often, especially in academic circles, we want to be like very historically accurate and on the nose and think about what Shakespeare meant and what Shakespeare wanted. But when you look at the reviews, you see that audiences are bringing these contemporary questions about gender to Shakespeare, and they will call a character transgender, and critics will call it a character transgender, even if the play and the production is specifically resisting that. So I do think that Shakespeare is actually weirdly a place where people come to make sense of gender and to make sense of these questions, which is why I found it really productive to work there.
Yes, and it kind of links to what you were saying in your introduction about, women in this play as well. Like it, and what you were saying about how it comments a lot on the integrity of women, especially Imogen's role.
It's definitely a play where Imogen shouldn't have to work so hard to prove how good she is. But yes, definitely a lot of work there trying to, I think, solidify the goodness and integrity of women, but a lot of threats of assault for sure.
Yeah, definitely. I'd love to ask you more questions. Thank you so much.
I'm excited to get back to seeing it.
Yeah, thank you so much for your brilliant answers. I'll pass over to Rob. Thank you, Sawyer.
Thank you so much.
Thank you so much, Tanvi, and thank you, Sawyer. We actually had a couple of transgender actors in our production of Coriolanus, exploring issues of toxic masculinity and the performance of masculinity. So I highly recommend that you check out the post-show talk on Coriolanus as well for some insights from trans actors on some of those issues. Thank you so much, Sawyer. Really appreciate that. And now, girls, gals, and non-binary pals, the show is about to recommence. So please do make yourselves comfortable and enjoy the second half of William Shakespeare's Cymbeline.
Act 3, Scene 6. Wales, the Mountain Cave.
I see a man's life is a tedious one. I have tired myself, and for 2 nights together have made the ground my bed. I should be sick, but that my resolution helps me. 2 beggars told me I could not miss my way. Will poor folks lie that have afflictions on them, knowing 'tis a punishment or trial? Yes, no wonder when rich ones scarce sell true. But what is this? Here's a path to it. 'Tis some savage hold. I were best not call. I dare not call. Yet famine, ere clean it overthrow, nature makes it valiant. Plenty and peace breeds cowards. Hardness ever of hardiness is mother. Oh! Who's here? If anything that civil speak, if savage take or lend. Oh! No answer. Then I'll enter. Best draw my sword. And if mine enemy but fear the sword like me, he'll scarcely look on it. Such a foe, good heavens.
You, Polydore, have proved best woodman, and are master of the feast. Cadwell and I will play the cook and servant. Come, our stomachs will make what's homely savoury. Weariness can snore up the flint, where resty sloth finds the down pillow hard. Now peace be here, poor house that keeps thyself.
I'm thoroughly weary.
I'm weak with toil, yet strong in appetite.
There's cold meat to the cave. We'll browse on that, whilst what we have killed be cooked.
Stay. Come not in. But that it eats our victuals? I should think here were a fairy.
What's the matter, sir?
By Jupiter, an angel, or if not, an earthly paragon. Behold divineness, no elder than a boy.
Good masters, I harm thee not. Before I entered here, I called and thought to have begged or bought what I took. Good troth, I have stolen not, nor would not. Here's my money for meat. I would have left it on the board so soon as I had made my meal and parted with prayers for the provider.
Money, youth.
All gold and silver rather turn to dirt, as 'tis no better reckoned, but of those who worship dirty gods.
I see you're angry. No, if you kill me for my fault, I should have died had I not made it.
Whither bound?
To Milford Haven.
What's your name?
Fidelis, sir. I have a kinsman who is bound for Italy. He embarked at Milford, to whom being going, almost spent with hunger, I am fallen in this offence.
Well encountered. 'Tis almost night. You shall have better cheer ere you depart, and thanks to stay and eat it. Boys, bid him welcome.
Were you a woman, youth, I should woo hard but be your groom. In honesty, I bid for you, as I do buy.
I'll make it my comfort. He is a man, I'll love him as my brother. And such a welcome as I'd give to him after long absence, such is yours. Most welcome. Be sprightly, for you fall amongst friends.
Mongst friends? If brothers would it had been so, that they had been my father's sons, then had my prize been less, and so more equal ballasting to thee, Posthumus.
Rings at some distress.
Would I could free it.
Or I, whate'er it be, what pain it cost, what danger, gods.
Hark, boys.
Great men, that had a court no bigger than this cave, that did attend themselves, and had the virtue which their own conscience sealed them, laying by that nothing gift of differing multitudes could not outpeer these twain. Pardon me, gods, I changed my sex to be companion with them, since Leonatus false.
It shall be so. Boys, we'll go dress our hunt. Fair youth, come in. Discourse is heavy fasting when we have supped. We'll mannerly demand thee of thy story, so far as thou wilt speak it.
Pray, draw near.
The night to the owl and morn to the lark less welcome.
Thanks, sir.
I pray, draw near.
Act 3, Scene 7. Rome, a public place.
This is the tenor of the Emperor's writ, that since the common men are now in action against the Pannonians and Dalmatians, and that the legions now in Gallia are full weak to undertake our wars against the fallen-off Britons, that we do incite the gentry to this business. He creates Lucius proconsul, and to you, the tribunes, for this immediate levy he commands his absolute commission. Long live Caesar!
Is Lucius general of the forces?
Aye.
Remaining now in Gallia?
With those legions which I have spoke of, whereunto your levy must be suppliant. The words of your commission will tie you to the numbers and the time of their dispatch.
We will discharge our duty.
Act 4, Scene 1. Wales, the forest.
I am near to the place where they should meet, if Pisanio have mapped it truly. How fit his garments serve me. Why should his mistress, who was made by him that made the tailor, not fit too? I dare speak it to myself. For it is not vain glory for a man in his glass to confer in his own chamber. I mean, the lines of my body are as well drawn as his, no less young, more strong, not beneath him in fortunes, beyond him in the advantage of time, above him in birth. Yet this imperseverant thing loves him in my despite. What mortality is, Posthumus, thy head, which is now growing upon thy shoulders, shall within this hour be off, thy mistress enforced, thy garments cut to pieces before her face, and all this done, spurn her home to her father, who may happily be a little angry for my so rough usage. But my mother shall turn all into my commendations. Out, sword. And to a sore purpose, fortune put them into my hand. This is the very description of their meeting place, and the fellow dares not deceive me.
Act 4, Scene 2. Wales, the Mountain Cave.
You are not well. Remain here in the cave. We'll come to you after hunting.
Brother, stay here. Are we not brothers?
I am very sick.
Go you to hunting. I'll abide with him.
Stick to you your journal course. The breach of custom is breach of all. I am ill, but your being by me cannot amend me. Society is no comfort to one not sociable. I am not very sick, since I can reason of it.
I love thee. I have spoke it. How much the quantity, the weight, as much as I do love my father.
What? How?
Well, if it be sin to say so, sir, I yoke me in my good brother's fault. I know not why I love this youth, and yet I have heard you say love's reason without reason. The bier at the door, and a demand who it is shall die. I'd say my father, not this youth.
Oh, noble strain of worthiness of nature, breed of greatness. I am not their father, yet who this should be doth miracle itself loved before me.
Brother, farewell.
She sport.
You health. So please you, sir.
These are kind creatures. Gods, what lies I have heard. Our courtiers say all savage but at court. Experience, oh, thou disprovest report. I am sick still, heart sick. Pisanio, I'll now taste of thy drug.
To the field, to the field. We'll leave you for this time. Go in and rest.
We'll not be long away.
Pray, be not sick, for you must be our huswife.
Well or ill, I am bound to you.
And shalt be forever. This youth, howe'er distressed, appears he hath had good ancestors.
How angel-like he sings.
I do note that grief and patience, rooted in them both, mingle their spurs together.
Grow patience, and let the stinking elder grief untwine his perishing root with the increasing vine.
It is a great morning. Come away. Who's there?
Cannot find those renegades. That villain hath mocked me. Oh, I am faint.
Those renegades? Is he not us? I partly know him. 'Tis Cloten, the son of the queen. I fear some ambush. I know 'tis he. We are held as outlaws. Hence.
He is but one. You and my brother search what companies are near. Pray you, away. Let me alone with him.
Soft. What are you that fly me thus? Some villain mountaineers? I have heard of such. What slave art thou?
A thing more slavish did I ne'er than answering a slave without a knock.
Yield thee, thief!
To who? To thee? What art thou? Have not I an arm as big as thine, a heart as big? Why should I yield to thee?
Thou villain, baste! Know'st me not by my clothes?
No, nor thy tailor, rascal, who is thy grandfather. He made those clothes which, as it seems, make thee.
Thou precious varlet, my tailor made them not.
Well, hence then, and thank the man that gave them thee. Thou art some fool. I am loath to beat thee.
Thou injurious thief! Hear but my name, and tremble!
What's thy name?
Cloten, thou villain.
Cloten, thou double villain, be thy name, I cannot tremble at it. Were it toad or adder, spider, 'twould move me sooner.
Oh, thy further fear, nay, to thy mere confusion, thou shalt know I am son to the queen.
I am sorry for it, not seeming so worthy as thy birth.
Art thou not feared?
As fools I laugh, not fear them.
Die the death! When I have slain thee with my proper hand, I'll follow those that even now fled hence, and on the gates of Ludstown set your heads. Yield, rustic mountaineer!
No companies abroad.
None in the world. You did mistake him, sure.
I'm absolute. 'Twas very Cloten. But see thy brother?
This Cloten was a fool. Not Hercules could have knocked out his brains, for he had none. Yet I, not doing this fool had borne my head as I do his.
What hast thou done?
I am perfect, what? Cut off one Cloten's head, son to the queen, after his own report, who called me traitor, mountaineer, and swore with his own single hand he'd take us in. Displace our heads, thank ye gods they grow, and set them on Ludstown.
We are all undone.
Why, worthy father, what have we to lose but that he swore to take? Our lives! The law protects not us, then why should we be tender to let an arrogant piece of flesh threat us? Play judge and executioner all himself, for we to fear the law? What company discover you abroad?
No single soul can we set eye on, but in all safe reason he must have some attendance, and perhaps it may be heard at court that such as we cave here, hunt here, are outlaws, and in time may make some stronger head, the which he hearing, as it is like him, might break out and swear he'd fetch us in, yet it's not probable to come alone, either he so undertaking, or they so suffering. Then on good ground we fear. If we do fear this body hath a tail more perilous than the head.
Howsoe'er my brother hath done well.
With his own sword, which he did wave against my throat, I have taken his head from him. I'll throw it in the creek behind our rock, and let it to the sea, and tell the fishes he's the queen's son, Cloten. That's all I reck.
I fear 'twill be revenged. Would, Polydore, thou hast not done it, though valour becomes thee well enough.
Would I had done it, so the revenge alone pursued me. Polydore, I love thee brotherly, but envy much thou hast robbed me of this deed.
Well, 'tis done. We'll hunt here no more today, nor seek for danger where there's no profit. I prithee to our rock. You and Fidele play the cooks. I'll stay till hasty Polydore return, and bring him to dinner presently.
Poor sick Fidele, I'll willingly to him.
Oh, thou goddess, thou divine nature, thou thyself blazonst in these two princely boys. They are as gentle as zephyrs blowing below the violet, not wagging his sweet head, and yet as rough their royal blood enchafed as the rudest winds that by the top doth take the mountain pine and make him stoop the vale.
Where is my brother? I've sent Cloten's clotpoll down the stream in embassy to his mother. His body is hostage for his return.
My ingenious instrument. Hark, Polydor. It sounds. But what occasion hath Cadwell now to give it motion? Hark!
What does he mean? Since death of my dearest mother, it did not speak before. Is Cadwell mad?
Look, here he comes, and brings the dire occasion in his arms of what we blame him for.
Bird is dead that we have made so much on. I had rather have skipped from 16 years of age to 60, to have turned my leaping time into a crutch than to have seen this.
Oh, sweetest, fairest Lily. My brother wears thee not the one half so well as when thou grewest thyself.
How found you him?
Stark, as you see, thus smiling, as if some fly had tickled slumber, not as death's dart being laughed at. His right cheek reposing on a cushion on the floor, his arms thusly.
Where? Why, but he sleeps. If he be gone, he'll make his grave a bed with female fairies. Will his tomb be haunted? And worms will not come to thee.
With fairest flowers, all summer lasts, and I live here for daily. How sweeten thy sad grave. Thou shalt not lack the flower that's like thy face, pale primrose, nor the azured harebell like thy veins. No, nor the leaf of eglantine, whom not to slander, outsweetened not thy breath.
Prithee, have done, and do not play in wench-like words with that which is so serious. Let us bury him, and not protract with admiration what is now due debt. To the grave.
Say, where shall I slay him?
By good Euryphile, our mother.
Be it so. And let us, Polydors, though now our voices have got that mannish crack, sing him to the ground, as once to our mother. Use like note and word, save that Euryphile must be fideli.
Cadwell, I cannot sing. I'll weep, and word it with thee. Your notes of sorrow out of tune are worse than priests and fiends that lie.
We'll speak it, then.
Great griefs, I see medicine the less, for Cloten is quite forgot. He was a queen's boy, and though he came our enemy, remember, he was paid for that. Though mean and mighty rotting together have one dust, yet reverence, that angel of the world, doth make distinction of place 'tween high and low. Our foe was princely, and though you took his life as being our foe, yet bury him as a prince.
Pray you fetch him hither. Thersites' body is as good as Ajax, when neither are alive.
If you'll go fetch him, we'll say our song the whilst. Brother, begin.
Fear no more the heat of the sun, nor the furious winter's rages. Thou thy worldly task hast done, home art gone, and ta'en thy wages. Golden lads and girls all must, as chimney sweepers, come to dust.
Fear no more the frown of the great. Thou art past the tyrant's stroke. Care no more to clothe and eat. To thee the reed is as the oak, the scepter learning
Fear no more the lightning flash,
nor the old dreaded thunderstone.
Fear not slender censure rash.
Thou hast finished joy and moan. All lovers young, all lovers must consign to thee and come to dust.
No exciser harm thee,
nor no witchcraft charm thee.
Ghosts unlaid forbear thee,
nothing ill come near thee. Quiet consummation have, and renowned be thy grave.
We have done up. Please come lay him down.
Here's a few flowers, but 'bout midnight more. The herbs that have on them cold dew on the night are strewings fittest for graves. The ground that gave them first has them again. Their pleasures here are past, so is their pain.
Yes, to Milford Haven. Which is the way? I thank you. By yond bush. Pray, how far to there? Odds Pitkins. If it be 6 mile yet. I have gone all night. Faith, I'll lie down and sleep. Oh, but soft. No bedfellow. Oh, gods and goddesses, these flowers like the pleasures of the world. This bloody man the care on't. I hope I dream, for I thought I was a cave keeper and cook to honest creatures. But 'tis not so. 'Twas but a bolt of nothing, a shot at nothing. The dream's here still. Even when I awake, it is without me, as within me, not imagined, felt. A headless man. Oh, the garments of Posthumus. I know the shape of his leg. This is his hand, his foot, mercurial, his martial thigh, the bronze of Hercules. But his jovial face, murder in heaven. How? 'Tis gone. Pisanio. All curses madded Hecuba gave on the Greeks, and mine to boot. Be darted on thee. Thou conspired with the irregulous devil Cloten, and hath here cut off my lord. To write and read be henceforth treacherous. Damned Pisanio hath with his forged letters. Damned Pisanio, from this most brave vessel of the world struck off the main top. Oh, Posthumus, alas, where's thy head? Where's that? Ay me, where's that? Pisanio might have killed thee at the heart and left thy head on. How should this be? 'Tis Pisanio, he and Cloten, malice and lucre in them have laid this woe here. Oh, 'tis pregnant, the drug he gave me, which he said was precious and cordial to me. Have I not found it murderous to the senses? Oh, that confirms it home. This is Pisanio deed. and Cloten. Oh, give colour to my pale cheek with thy blood, that we the horrider may seem those which in chance to find us. Oh, my lord, my lord!
To them the legions garrisoned in Gallia, after your will, have crossed the sea, attending you here at Milford Haven with your ships. They are here in readiness.
This forwardness makes our hopes fair. Command our present numbers be mustered, bid the captains look to it. Now, sir, what have you dreamed of late of this war's purpose?
Last night, the very gods showed me a vision. I fast and prayed for their intelligence. Thus, I saw Jove's bird, the Roman eagle, winged from the spongy south to this part of the west, there vanished into sunbeams. Which portends, unless my sins abuse my divination, success to the Roman host.
Soft ho! What trunk is here? Without his top, and ruins speak that sometimes it was a worthy building. How? A page? Or dead or sleeping on him?
He's alive, my lord.
He'll then instruct us of this body. Young one, inform us of thy fortune, for it seems they crave to be demanded. What's thy interest in this sad wreck? How came to it? Who is't? What art thou?
I am nothing, if not nothing were to be better. This was my master, a valiant Briton, and a good that here mountaineers lie slain. Alas, there is no more such masters. I may wander from east to occident, cry out for service, try many, all good, serve truly. Never find such another master.
That good youth, thou movest no less with thy complaining than thy master is bleeding. Say his name, good friend.
Richard Duchamp. If I do lie, and do no harm by it, though the gods hear, I hope they'll pardon it. Say you, sir?
Thy name?
Fideli, sir.
Thou dost approve thyself the very same. Thy name well fits thy faith thy name. Wilt take thy chance with me? I will not say thou shalt be so well mastered, but be sure no less beloved. Go with me.
I'll follow, sir. But first, and please the gods, I'll hide my masters from the flies, as deep as these poor pickaxes can dig. And when with wildwood leaves and weeds I strewed his grave, and on it said a century of prayers, such as I can, twice o'er, I'll weep and sigh, and leaving so his service, follow you. So please you entertain me.
Be cheerful. Wipe thine eyes. Some fools are means the happier to arise.
Act 4, Scene 3. Britain, Cymbeline's palace.
Again, and bring me word how 'tis with her. A fever with the absence of her son, a madness of which her life's in danger. Heavens, how deeply do you touch me? Imogen, the great part of my comfort gone. My queen upon a desperate bed, and in a time when fearful wars point at me. Her son gone, so needful for this present. It strikes me past the hope of comfort. But for thee, fellow, who needs must know of her departure, and dost seem so ignorant, we'll enforce it from thee by a sharp torture.
My My life is yours. I humbly set it at your will, but for my mistress, I nothing know where she remains, why gone, nor when she purposes return. Beseech your highness, hold me your loyal servant.
My liege, the day that she was missing, he was here. I dare be bound he's true, and shall perform all parts of his subjection loyally. For Cloten, there wants no diligence in seeking him, and will no doubt be found.
The time is troublesome. We'll slip you for a season, but our jealousy doth yet depend.
Please, your majesty, the Roman legions, all from Gallia drawn, are landed on your coast with the supply of Roman gentlemen by the Senate sent.
Now for the counsel of my son and queen. I am amazed with
Good,
matter.
my liege, your preparation can affront no less than what you hear of. Come more, for more you're ready. The want is but to put those powers in motion that long to move.
I thank you. Let's withdraw and meet the time as it seeks us. We fear not what can from Italy annoy us, but we grieve at chances here. Away.
I heard no letter from my master since I wrote him Imogen was slain. 'Tis strange, nor heard I from my mistress, who did promise to yield me often tidings. Neither know I what is betide to Cloten, but remain perplexed in all. The heavens still must work. Wherein I am false, I am honest, not true to be true. These present wars shall find I love my country, even to the note of the king, or I'll fall in them. All other doubts, by time let them be cleared. Fortune brings in some boats that are not steered.
Act 4, Scene 4. Wales, the Mountain Cave.
The noise is round about us. What hope have we in hiding us? This way the Romans must or for Britain slay us, or receive us for barbarous and unnatural revolts during their use and slay us after.
Sons, we'll hire to the mountains. There secure us. To the king's party there's no going. Newness of Cloten's death may drive us to render up where we have lived, and so extort from that which we have done, whose answer would be death, drawn on with torture.
This is, sir, a doubt in such a time, nothing becoming you, nor satisfying us.
It is not likely when that they hear their Roman horses neigh that they will waste their time upon our note to know from whence we are.
Oh, I am known of many with Cymbeline, who besides hath not deserved my service, nor your loves.
I and my brother are not known. Yourself, so out of thought, and thereto so o'ergrown, cannot be questioned.
By this sun that shines, I'll thither. What thing is it that I never did see man die? Scarce ever looked on blood, but that of coward hares, hot goats, and venison. I am ashamed to look upon the sun, to have the benefit of his blessed beams, remaining so long a poor unknown.
By heavens, I'll go. If you will bless me, sir, and give me leave, I'll take the better care. But if you will not, the hazard therefore due fall on me by the hands of Romans.
So say I, amen.
No reason I, since of your lives you set so slight a valuation, should reserve my cracked one to more care. Have with you, boys, in your country wars, you chance to die, that is my bed too, lads, and there I'll lie. Lead!
Yeah!
Lead!
Yeah!
The time seems long, their blood thinks scorn till it fly out, and show them princes born.
Act 5, Scene 1. Britain, the Roman camp.
Yea, bloody cloth, I'll keep thee. For I wish thou'st be colored thus. You married once. If each of you should take this course, how many must murder wives better than themselves for erring but a little? Oh, Pisanio! Every good servant does not all commands, no bond but to do just once. Gods! If you should obtain vengeance on my faults, I never had left to put on this. So had you saved the noble Imogen and struck me, wretch, more worthy of vengeance, I'm brought hither among the Italian gentry to fight against my lady's kingdom. 'Tis enough that Britain I kill thy mistress. Peace I'll give no wound to thee. Therefore, good heavens, hear patiently my purpose. I'll disrobe me of these Italian weeds and suit myself as does a Briton peasant. So I'll fight against the part I come with. So I'll die for thee. Imogen, for whom my life is every breath a death. To the face of peril myself I'll dedicate. Let me make men know more valor in me than my habits show.
Act 5, Scene 2. Britain, the field of battle.
Jachimo!
Hold it. The heaviness and guilt within my bosom takes off my manhood. I have belied a lady, the princess of this country, and the air on it revengingly enfeebles me. If that thy gentry, Britain, go before this lout, as he exceeds our lords, the odds is that we scarce are men, and you are gods.
Yes! Land! We have the advantage of the ground! The lane is guarded! Nothing roots us but the villainy of our fears!
Stand! Stand! Stand and fight!
Get the man! Get the man! Caius, Lucius. Caius.
Away, boy, from the troops, and save yourself, for friends kill friends, and disorders such as war were hoodwinked.
'Tis their fresh supplies.
'Tis the day turned strangely on betide.
Act 5, Scene 3. Britain, the field of battle.
Today, how many would have given their honours to have saved their carcasses? Took heel to do it, yet died too. I, in mine own woe charmed, could not find death where I did hear him groan, nor feel him where he struck. Being an ugly monster, 'tis strange he hides him in fresh cups, soft beds, sweet words. Or had more ministers than we that draw his knives at the war. Well, I will find him. For being now a favourer to Britain, no more a Briton, I have resumed again the part I came in. Fight I will no more, but yield me to the veriest hind that shall once touch my shoulder. Grave the slaughters here made by the Roman, grave the answer be Britons must take. For me my ransom's death, on either side I come to spend my breath, which neither here I'll keep nor bear again, but end it by some means. For Imogen,
Great Jupiter be praised! Lucius is taken. 'Tis thought the old man and his sons were angels.
There was a fourth man in a silly habit that gave the affront with them.
So 'tis reported, but none of them can be found. Stand! Who's there?
A Roman, who'd not now been drooping here if seconds had answered him.
Lay hands on him, a dog. A log not return to tell what crows have pecked them here. He brags his service as if he were of note. Bring him to the king.
Act 5, Scene 4. Britain, a prison.
You shall not now be stolen. You have locks upon you. So graze as you find pasture, aye, or a stomach.
Most welcome bondage. My conscience, thou art fettered more than my shanks and wrists. You good gods, for Imogen's dear life, take mine. And though 'tis not so dear, yet 'tis a life, you coined it. And cancel these cold bonds. Oh, Imogen, I speak to thee in silence.
Hath my poor boy done aught but well, whose face I never saw? I died whilst in the womb he stayed, attending nature's law.
Me was Posthumus ripped, came crying mongst his foes.
In Britain, where was he that could stand up his parallel, or fruitful object be, in eye of Imogen the best could deem his dignity?
Why did you suffer Jachimo, slight thing of Italy, to taint his nobler heart and brain with needless jealousy?
For this from stiller seat we came, our parents and us twain, that striking in our country's cause held bravely and were slain.
Since Jupiter our son is good, take off his misery.
Peep through thy marble mansion, help, or we poor ghosts will cry to the shining synod of the rest against thy deity.
Help, Jupiter, or we appeal, and from thy justice fly.
No more. You pet spirits of region low, offend our hearing, hush. How dare you, ghosts, accuse a thunderer, whose bolt you know, sky-planted, batters all rebelling coasts? Poor shadows of Elysium. Hence, rest. Your low-laid son, our Godhead, will uplift. Our jovial star reigned at his birth, and in our temple was he married. Rise and fade. He shall be lord of Lady Imogen, and happier much by his affliction made this tablet on his breast, wherein our pleasure his full fortune doth confide. And so away, no farther with your din, express impatience, lest you stir up mine. Mount Eagle, to my palace crystalline,
Thanks, Jupiter.
Thanks, Jupiter.
Sleep. Thou'st been a grandsire, and begot a father to me. And thou'st created a mother, and 2 brothers. But oh, Scon! Gone. They went, and so soon as they were born. What fairies haunt this ground? Look. Oh. Rare one. Be not as our fangled world, a garment nobler than it covers. Let thy effects so follow, to be most unlike our courtiers, as good as promised. When as a lion's whelp shall to himself unknown without seeking find, and be embraced by a piece of tender air, and when from a stately cedar shall be lopped branches, which being dead in many years shall after revive, be jointed to the old stock and freshly grow, then shall Posthumus end his miseries, Britain be fortunate, and nourish in peace and plenty. This still a dream, or else such stuff as madman tongue and brain not, either both or nothing, or senseless speaking, or a speaking such as sense cannot untie. Be what it is, the action of my life is like it, which I'll keep, if but for sympathy.
Come, sir. Are you ready for death?
Over roasted rather, ready long ago.
Hanging is the word, sir. If you be ready for that, you are well cooked.
So if I prove a good repast to the spectators, the dish pays the shot.
A heavy reckoning for you, sir, but the comfort is you shall be called to no more payments. Fear no more tavern bills, which are often the sadness of parting as the curing of mirth. Ah, the charity of a penny cord. It sums up thousands in a trice. You have no true debitor and creditor but it. Of what's past is, and to come, the discharge. Your next, sir, is pen, book, and counters. So's the acquittance follows.
I tell thee, fellow, there are none want eyes to direct them the way I'm going, but such as wink and will not use them.
What an infinite mock is this, that a man should have the best use of eyes to see the way of blindness. I am sure hanging's the way of winking.
Knock off his manacles, bring your prisoner to the king.
Thou bringst good news. I'm called to be made free.
I'll be hanged then.
Thou shalt be freer than a jailer. No bolts for the dead.
Act 5, Scene 5. Britain, Cymbeline's tent.
Stand by my side, you whom the gods have made preservers of my throne. Woe is my heart that the poor soldier that so richly fought, whose rags shamed gilded arms, whose naked breast stepped before charges of proof, cannot be found. He shall be happy that can find him, if our grace can make him so.
I never saw such noble fury in so poor a thing, such precious deeds in one that promised naught, but beggary and poor looks.
No tidings of him?
He hath been searched among the dead and living, but no trace of him.
To my grief, I am heir of his reward, which I will add to you, the liver, heart, and brain of Britain, by whom I grant she lives. 'Tis now the time to ask of whence you are. Report it.
Sir, in Cambria are we born, and gentlemen, further to boast, we are neither true nor modest, unless I add we are honest.
Bow your knees. Arise, my knights of the battle. I create you companions to our person, and will fit you with dignities becoming your estates. There's business in these faces. Why so sadly greet you our victory? You look like Romans and not of the court of Britain.
Hail, great king. To soar your happiness, I must report the queen is dead.
Who worse than a physician would this report become? How ended she?
With horror! Madly dying, like her life, which, being cruel to the world, concluded most cruel to herself. What she confessed, I will report, so please you. These her women can trip me, if I err, who with wet cheeks were present when she finished.
Prithee say.
Well, first, she confessed she never loved you. Only affected greatness got by you, not you. Married your royalty, was wife to your palace, abhorred your person.
She alone knew this, and but she spoke it dying, I would not believe her lips in opening it. Proceed.
Your daughter, whom she bore in hand to love with such integrity, she did confess was as a scorpion to her sight, whose life, but that her flight prevented it. She had ta'en off by poison.
Oh, most delicate fiend! Who is't can read a woman? Is there more?
More, sir, and worse. She did confess she had for you a mortal mineral, which being took, should by the minute feed on life, and lingering by inches waste you. She purposed to work her son into the adoption of the crown, but failing of her end by this strange absence, grew shameless, desperate, opened in despite of heaven and men her purposes, repented the evils she had hatched were not effected, so despairing, died.
Heard you all this, her woman?
We did, so please your highness.
Mine eyes were not in fault, for she was beautiful. Mine ears that heard her flattery, nor my heart that thought her like her seeming. It had been vicious to had been mistrusted her. Yet, oh, my daughter, that it was folly in me thou mayest say, and prove it in thy feeling. Heaven mend all. Thou comest not, Caius, now for tribute. That the Britons have raised out, though with the loss of many a bold one, whose kinsmen have made suit that their good souls may be appeased with slaughter of you, their captives, which ourselves have granted. So think of your estate.
Consider, sir, the chance of war. The day was yours by accident. Had it gone with us, we should not, when the blood was cool, have threatened our prisoner with a sword. But since the gods will have it thus, that nothing but our lives may be called ransom, let it come. Suffieth, a Roman with a Roman's heart can suffer. Augustus lives to think on't, and so much for my peculiar care. This one thing only I will entreat. My boy, Britain born, let him be ransomed. Never master had a page so kind, so duteous, diligent, so tender over his occasions, true, so feet, so nurse-like. Let his virtue join with my requests, which I'll make bold your highness cannot deny. He hath done no Briton harm, though he have served a Roman. Save him, sir, and spare no blood beside.
I have surely seen him. His favour is familiar to me. Boy, thou hast looked thyself into my grace, and art mine own. I know not why, wherefore to say live, boy. Ne'er thank thy master. Live, and ask of Cymbeline what boon thou wilt. Fitting my bounty and thy state, I'll give it. Yea, though thou do demand a prisoner, the noblest taken.
I humbly thank your highness.
I do not bid thee beg my life, good lad, and yet I know thou wilt.
No, alack, there's other work in hand. I see a thing that's bitter to me as death. Your life, good master, must shuffle for itself.
The boy disdains me. Why stands he so perplexed?
What wouldst thou, boy? I love thee more and more. Think more and more what's best to ask. Knowest him thou look'st on? Speak. Wilt have him live? Is he thy kin, thy friend?
He is a Roman, no more kin to me than your highness, who, being born your vassal, am something nearer.
Wherefore eyest him so?
I'll tell you, sir, in private, if you please to give me hearing.
Aye, with all my heart, and lend my best attention. What's thy name?
Daily, sir.
Thou'st my good youth, my page. I'll be thy master. Walk with me. Speak freely.
Is not this boy revived from death?
One say and another not more resembles that sweet, rosy lad who died and was fideli. What think you?
The same dead thing alive.
Peace, see further. He eyes us not. Forbear, creatures may be alike. Were it he, I am sure he would have spoke to us.
But we saw him dead.
Be silent. Let's see further.
It is my mistress. Since she is living, let the time run on, to good or bad.
Come, stand thou by my side and make thy demand aloud. Sir, step you forth and give answer to this boy, and do it freely.
My boon is that this gentleman may render of whom he had this ring.
What's that to him?
That diamond upon your finger, say, how came it yours?
Thou'lt torture me to leave unspoken that which to be spoke would torture thee.
Ah, me?
I am glad to be constrained to utter that which torments me to conceal. By villainy I got this ring. 'Twas Leonatus' jewel, whom thou didst banish, and which may grieve thee, as it doth me. A nobler sir ne'er lived twixt sky and ground. Wilt thou hear more, my lord?
All that belongs to this.
That paragon, thy daughter, for whom my heart drops blood, all my false spirits quell. Remember, give me leave. I faint.
My daughter? What of her? Renew thy strength. I'd rather thou shouldst live while nature will than die ere I hear more. Strive, man, and speak.
Upon a time, unhappy was the clock that struck the hour. It was in Rome. Accursed the mansion where 'twas at a feast. Oh, would our viands had been poisoned, or at least those which I had heaved to head. The good Posthumus, hearing us praise our loves of Italy, most like a noble lord in love, and one that had a royal lover, took his hint, and not dispraising whom we praised, therein he was calm as virtue. He began his mistress's picture, which by his tongue being made, and then a mind put in it, either our brags were cracked of kitchen trolls, or his description proves us unspeaking sots.
Nay, to the purpose.
Your daughter's chastity. There it begins. He spake of her as Diane had hot dreams, and she alone were cold, whereat I, wretch, made scruple of his praise, and wagered him pieces of gold gainst this, which then he wore upon his honoured finger, to attain in suit the place of his bed, and win this ring by hers and mine adultery. He, true knight, no lesser of her honour confident than I did truly find her, stakes this ring. Away to Britain post I in this design. Well may you remember, sir, me at court, where I was taught of your chaste daughter the wide difference twixt amorous and villainous, being quenched thus of hope not longing, my Italian brain gan in your duller British operate, most vilely for my vantage excellent, and to be brief, my practice so prevailed that I returned with similar proof enough to make the noble Leonatus mad by wounding his belief in her renown with tokens. Thus, and thus, arriving notes of her chamber hanging, pictures, and this, her bracelet. Oh, how cunning I got it. Nay, there's some marks of secret on her person that he could not but think her bond of chastity quite cracked. I, having taken the forfeit, whereupon... Methinks I see him now.
Aye, so thou does, Italian fiend. Ay me, most credulous fool, egregious murderer, thief, anything that's due to all the villains past in being to come. Oh, give me cord or knife or poison, some upright justicer. I am Posthumus that killed thy daughter. Villain like I lie, that caused a lesser villain than myself, a sacrilegious thief to do't. The temple of virtue was she, yea, and she herself. Spit and throw stones, cast mire upon me, send the dogs in the street to bay me. Every villain be called Posthumus Leonatus, and be villainy less than 'twas. Oh, Imogen, my queen, my life, my wife. Oh, Imogen, Imogen, Imogen.
Peace, my lord. Here.
Shan't have a play of this, thou scornful page. There lies thy part.
Gentlemen, help! Mine and your mistress! Oh, my lord Posthumus, you ne'er killed Imogen till now! Help, help! Mine honoured lady!
Does the world go round?
How comes these staggers on me?
Wake, my mistress!
If this be so, the gods do mean to strike me to death with mortal joy.
Fears, my mistress.
Oh, get thee from my sight! Thou gavest me poison, dangerous fellow, hence! Breathe not where princes are.
The tune of Imogen.
The gods throw stones of sulphur on me if that box I gave you was not thought by me a precious... I had it from the queen.
New matter still.
It poisoned me.
Oh, gods! I left out one thing which the queen confessed, which must prove the honest. If Pisanio have, said she, given his mistress that confection which I gave him for cordial, she is served as I would serve a rat.
What's this, Cornelius?
The queen, sir, very oft importuned me to temper poisons for her, still pretending the satisfaction of her knowledge only in killing creatures viled as cats and dogs of no esteem. I, dreading that her purpose was of more danger, did compound for her a certain stuff which, being ta'en, would seek the present power of life. But in short time, all offices in nature should again do their due functions. Have you ta'en of it?
Most like I did, for I was dead.
My boys, there was our error.
This is sure Fideli.
Why did you throw your wedded lady from you? Think that you are upon a rock, and now throw me again.
Hang there like fruit, my soul, till the tree die.
How now, my flesh? My child? What, makest thou me a dullard in this act? Will not speak to me?
Your blessing, sir.
Oh, you did love this youth, I blame ye not. You had motive for it.
My tears that fall prove holy water on thee. Imogen, thy mother's dead.
I am sorry for it, my lord.
Her son is gone. We know not how nor where.
No fear is from me. I'll speak troth. Lord Cloten, upon my lady's missing, came to me with his sword drawn, foamed at the mouth, and swore if I discovered not which way she was gone, it was my instant death. By accident, I had a feigned letter of my master's then in my pocket, which directed him to seek her on the mountains near to Milford. I further know not.
Let me end the story. I slew him there.
Marry, the gods forfend! I wouldst not thy good deeds should from my lips pluck a hard sentence. Prithee, valiant youth, deny it again.
I have spoke it. I cut off's head, and am right glad he is not standing here to tell this tale of mine.
That headless man I thought had been my lord.
Find the offender and take him from our presence.
Stay, Sir King! This man is better than the man he slew. Let his arms alone. They were not born for bondage.
Why, old soldier, wilt thou undo the worth thou art unpaid for by tasting of our wrath? How of dissent as good as we?
In that he spake too far.
And thou shalt die for it.
We will die all three, but I will prove that 2 ones are as good as I have given out him. Thou hadst, great king, a subject who was called Belarius.
What of him? He is a banished traitor.
He it is that hath assumed this age. Indeed, a banished man, I know not how a traitor.
Take him hence. The whole world shall not save him.
Not too hot. First, pay me for the nursing of thy sons.
Nursing of my sons?
These 2 young gentlemen that call me father and think they are my sons are none of mine. They are the issues of your loins, my liege, and blood of your begetting.
Oh, my issue?
So sure as you, your fathers, I, old Morgan, am that Belarius, whom you sometime banished. These gentle princes, these 20 years have I trained up those arts they have as I could put into them. My breeding was, sir, as your highness knows. Their nurse, Euryphile, whom for the theft I wedded, stole these children upon my banishment. I moved her to it, and to my end of stealing them. But, gracious sir, here are your sons again. I must lose 2 of the sweetest companions in the world. The benedictions of these covering heavens fall on their heads like dew, for they are worthy to inlay the stars.
Thou weepst and speakst. The service that you 3 have done is more unlike than this thou tell'st. I lost my children. If these be they, I know not how to wish a pair of worthier sons.
Be pleased awhile. This gentleman, whom I call Polyador, most worthy prince as yours is true Guiderius. This gentleman, my Cadwell, Arviragus, your younger princely son. He, sir, was lapped in a most curious mantle, wrought by the hand of his queen mother, for which more probation I can with ease produce.
Guiderius had upon his neck a mole, a sanguine star. It was a mark of wonder.
This is he who hath upon him still that natural stamp. It was wise nature's end in the donation to be his evidence now.
Oh, what? Am I mother to the birth of 3? Ne'er mother rejoiced deliverance more.
Oh, my gentle brothers, have we thus met? Oh, never say hereafter, but I am truest speaker. You called me brother when I was but your sister. Are you brothers when we were so indeed?
Did you then meet?
Aye, my good lord.
At first meeting loved, continued so until we thought he died.
Oh, by the queen's dram she swallowed.
Oh, rare instinct! When shall we hear all through? This fierce abridgment hath to it a circumstantial branches which distinction should be rich in. Where? How lived you? And whence came you to serve our Roman captive? How parted you with your brothers? How first met them? Why fled you from the court? And whither? These and your 3 motives to the battle with, I know not how much more should be demanded from chance to chance. But nor the time nor place will serve our interrogatories. See, Posthumus anchors upon Imogen, and she, like harmless lightning, throws her eye on him, her brothers, me, her master, hitting each object with a joy. The counter changes severally in all. Let's quit this ground and smoke the temple with our sacrifices. Thou art my brother. So we'll hold thee ever.
You are my father too, and did relieve me to see this gracious season.
All o'erjoyed, save these in bonds. Let them be joyful too, for they shall taste our comfort.
My good master, I will yet do you service.
Happy be you.
Ah, the forlorn soldier that so nobly fought. Oh, he would have becomed this place and graced the thankings of a king.
I am, sir, the soldier that did company these 3 poor beseeming. 'Twas a fitment for the purpose I then followed. That I was he! Speak, Jachimo. I had you down and might have made you finish.
I am down again, but now my heavy conscience sinks my knee, as then your force did. Take that life, beseech you, which I so often owe. But your ring first. And here the bracelet of the truest princess that ever swore her faith.
Kneel not to me. The power that I have in you is to spare you. The malice towards you, to forgive you. Live and deal with others better.
Nobly doomed. We'll learn our freeness of a son-in-law. Pardon's the word to all.
You help us, sir. As you did mean to be our brother, joyed we are that you are.
Your servant, princess. Good my lord of Rome, call forth your soothsayer. As I slept, methought great Jupiter upon his eagle backed appeared to me with other sprightly shows of mine own kindred. When I waked, I found this label on my bosom, whose containing is so from sense and hardness that I can make no collection of it. Let him show his skill in the construction.
Philomonus!
Here, my good lord.
Read and declare the meaning.
When, as a lion's whelp, shall to himself unknown without seeking find, and be embraced by a piece of tender air, then from a stately cedar shall be lopped branches, which being dead many years shall after revive, be jointed to the old stock and freshly grow. Then shall Posthumus end his miseries. Britain be fortunate and flourish in peace and plenty. Thou, Leonatus, art the lion's whelp, the fit and apt construction of thy name, being Leonatus, doth import so much. The piece of tender air, thy virtuous daughter, which I divine is the most constant wife, who even now, answering to the letter of the oracle, unknown to you, unsought, were clicked about with this most tender air.
This hath some seeming.
For the lofty Caesar, royal Cymbeline personates thee, and thy lopped branches point thy 2 sons forth, who by Belarius stone for many years thought dead, are now revived, to the majestic cedar joined, whose issue promises Britain peace and plenty.
Well, my peace we will begin. And Caius Lucius, although the victor, we submit to Caesar and to the Roman Empire, promising to pay our wonted tribute, from the which we were dissuaded by the wicked queen, whom heaven's injustice both on her and hers hath laid most heavy hand.
The fingers of the powers above do tune the harmony of this peace. The vision which I made known to Lucius ere the stroke of this yet scarce cold battle, at this instant is full accomplished. For the Roman eagle from south to west on wing soaring aloft lessened herself, and in the beams of the sun so vanished, which foreshowed our princely eagle, the imperial Caesar, should again unite his favour with the radiant Cymbeline, which shines here in the west.
Laud we to the gods, and let our crooked smokes climb to their nostrils from our blessed altars. Publish we this peace to all our subjects. Set we forward. Let a Roman and a British ensign wave friendly together. So through Ludstown march, and in the temple of great Jupiter our peace will ratify. Seal it with feasts.
Ah, bravo!
Never was a war did cease ere bloody hands were washed with such a peace.
Congratulations, one and all. Get out here, give yourselves a big round of applause and take a bow. A fantastic evening's work, one and all. Well done. Really, really well done. For those watching around the world at home, thank you so much for joining with us. I beg your indulgence. If you'll stick with us for a little while, we will be very happy to answer all of your questions. So if you have any questions for the cast and crew about this production, or indeed for our guest introducer, Sawyer, who has kindly agreed to stick around for the post-show chat, please do get those in and we can get into some lovely detail. But first of all, allow me to introduce you to the cast and crew, starting as always with our amazing producer, Sarah Peachy.
Hi everyone, I'm Sarah. I'm an innovation project manager and actor based in Glasgow.
Our associate director, stage manager and master of props, Emily Ingram.
Hi, I'm Emily. I'm a writer, director and stage manager based in Edinburgh in Scotland.
Our associate producer, Matt Rhodes.
Hi, I'm Matthew Rhodes. I'm an emerging theatre artist on unceded Musqueam, Squamish and Tsleil-Waututh territory, also called Vancouver, Canada.
On music and sound, it's Adam Gibson.
Hi, I'm Adam. I'm a sound designer and composer currently based in London.
And our cast for this evening, as Imogen, Gabrielle Sheppard.
Hi, I'm Gabrielle Sheppard. I'm an actor, theatre maker and puppeteer from Bristol, but I'm currently in London.
As Posthumus Leonatus, Manish Gandhi.
Hi, my name is Manish Gandhi. I'm a London-based actor. Thank you for watching.
As Jachimo, Robbie Capaldi.
Hi, I'm Robbie Capaldi, based just outside of London, and yeah.
As Belarius, Joanna Harte.
Hi, I'm Joanna Harte. I'm an actress and an agent based in Glasgow.
As Cymbeline, Leo Atkin.
Hi, I'm Leo Atkin. I'm an actor based in the heart of rural Lancashire.
As Pisanio, Misha McCullagh.
Hi, I'm Misha McCullagh. I'm an actor and creative producer based in Scotland.
As the Queen, Kevin V. Smith.
Hello, I'm Kevin V. Smith. I'm a theater director and actor from Chicago.
As Guiderius, David Martinez.
Hello, I'm David Martinez. I am an actor, ecologist, and decapitator from Kansas City in the US.
As Cloten, Katie Tranter.
Hi, I'm Katie Tranter. I'm an actor, musician, puppeteer, and theatre maker from Mid Wales, currently living in Bristol.
Amazing. As Arviragus, Stephanie Crugnola.
Hi, I'm Stephanie Crugnola. I am an actor educator based in Austin, Texas.
As Caius Lucius, Alice Langrish.
Hello, I'm Alice Langrish. I'm an actor and a creative and a youth mentor based in London. Yeah.
Fabulous. And our ensemble for this evening, first of all, is Harry Farmer.
Hi, I'm Harry Farmer. I am an actor and writer from Essex.
Sarah Freia.
Bonjour tout le monde. I'm Sarah Freia. I'm an actress, singer, and writer based in Toronto, Canada.
Eleanor Shannon.
Hello, I'm Eleanor Shannon. I am an actor, voiceover artist, singer, and writer from Northern Ireland, Belfast.
Jake Runnacles.
Hello, my name is Jake Runnacles. I'm an actor, writer, musician from Toronto, Canada.
Chris Pearson.
Hi, I'm Chris Pearson. I'm an actor based in Edinburgh.
Comfort Fabian.
Hi, I am an actor based in South London.
Amazing. And our valiant swings for this evening, who, due to some unprecedented last-minute dropouts, also taking on parts in the show as well. First of all, as Swing and Cornelius, Gareth Turkington.
Hi, how you doing? I'm Gareth Turkington. I'm an actor and voice artist from Belfast.
And Swing and Ensemble, Eliza Jane Gilroy.
Hello, I'm Eliza Jane Gilroy. I'm an actor, singer, and musician based in Edinburgh and London.
Amazing work, both swinging as has never been swung before. And finally, with big thanks for all of our action this evening, head or president rather of the British Academy and Stage and Screen Combat and founder of Stage Fight Scotland, Janet Lawson.
Hi, I'm Janet Lawson. I'm a stage combat teacher and a fight director based just outside Glasgow in Scotland.
Amazing. Thank you so much, one and all, for your incredible contributions this evening. Really, really appreciate them. If you appreciate them at home, please do like this video. Why not subscribe to the channel? We still have 2 of Shakespeare's first folio shows to go. Also, while you're there, why not consider tipping your actors by making a donation to the Patreon? Similarly, you could always commemorate your experience this evening with some TSMGO merchandise on our Redbubble store. Details for all of which can be found in the description of this video, so check it out immediately below. And in the meantime, if you have any questions for us whatsoever, please throw those into the chat and we'd be delighted to answer them. Thank you so much, everyone. Hope you've enjoyed tonight's performance. Sarah, do we have any questions to get started?
Still just wrapping up the applause at the moment, but I have had one question that I will throw into the mix, which I think is quite interesting, that we've probably discussed through the rehearsal process. But at the end, do we have a theory for why Cymbeline decides to pay Rome tribute after defeating them?
No. I mean, harmony, I think, is the thing. I think Philomonus, love of harmony, as was pointed out in the chat, thanks Danielle, talks about how Jupiter sings out the harmony. And I believe that it is about peace in the world, really. I think so much of this play is about peace and forgiveness. But Leo, I don't know if you had a theory on that as Cymbeline himself.
I knew you'd come to me. I didn't, but as we've been talking about it, I just wonder. He actually says, Cymbeline says, he was persuaded by the Queen, and I think that's part of the story. But I also wonder whether, because the tribute had already been agreed to, he was honor bound to continue. So it was a matter of honor that he reinstated the tribute.
Makes sense.
That's
Also,
all I've
could also, of course, just be whatever the Queen says, do the opposite. Oh, we love you, Kevin. Amazing performance this evening. That was so good. So good. Sarah, any more questions? Starting to trickle through.
Oh, yes, I've just had one come through here. So yeah, there was a question, just a comment here about the camera work, specifically in Act 1, Scene 6. But I think we probably also need to give tribute to the rather spectacular camera work in Act 2, Scene 2. But yes, Robbie and Gabrielle, fantastic job. How long did it take to perfect, was the question.
Fabulous. 1-6, first of all.
Strong word. It took a few runs, but as with everything, there's not that much time. So we just had to kind of hope it went well. And as we saw on some camera work, did not go so well. Apologies, everyone. I haven't seen that clip yet, but we'll see.
We might just have to do a Patreon exclusive, Gabrielle, for that. Do a little George Lucas special edition retread of that scene, maybe.
Yeah.
Absolutely.
That scene was very difficult with Robbie.
I've got to say, Gabrielle, obviously you played Peter Quince to my bottom back in the day, and it was really nice of you to repay the favour.
Speaking of Patreon exclusives, I actually filmed Act 2, Scene 2 from another angle tonight. So if you want to, I'll release that as a Patreon where you can see the scene and you can see the behind the scenes side by side, see how it's all matching up. Yeah.
Absolutely. That was such a huge undertaking, that scene. It's probably one of the most technically advanced scenes that we've had to do. We had to broach new ground in technological terms. But during the R&D, we were talking about that scene and how it was going to be one of the most difficult ones to stage. And there were kind of three main takeaways that we developed, which was that it will be lovely for the audience to be in the box with Jachimo. It will be lovely to almost get a CCTV or paranormal activity style kind of long view that meant that the audience will be helpless to kind of stop the action. But then we also wanted to get that intimacy between the three. And it was something that I genuinely don't think could have been achieved if we didn't have a mind like Robbie's on the other end, looking at how to pull that off in practical terms.
I'm going to throw a huge shout out to Emily and Matt who are opping the cameras as much as we can over Zoom. It's just like, hopefully it looked like, oh yeah, that's just what they do on TV all the time, right? But doing it all in different countries across the world and trying to get it to sync up. Because if you, I mean, not to get too much into the detail, because that's the Patreon exclusive, if you basically have two mics running at once and one speaker, the feedback is horrendous. So you've got to dip in and out and switch between them with perfect timing. So Emily and Matt absolutely smashed it. So thank you so much.
Amazing. Thank you all. Absolutely amazing. And yes, that Act 1, Scene 6 was an absolute cracker, both. That was absolutely seamless all the way through. So really, really well achieved that. Thank you so much. Wonderful. Sarah, do we have any more questions?
Yes, I've got a couple more. While we've been on this subject, actually, there was one question about the unsung heroes taking part in the bed plot and the Cloten bits, which we shouldn't go without mentioning.
Can we get them out here to take a bow is the question.
They're asleep.
Really?
I don't know where he is. I'm on the top floor of our house and there's 3 floors, so there's no way he's coming back.
Right. Too many stairs to climb. Well, thank you so much to the silent partner, the shadow hand. And have we got please welcome TSMG alumni Maz. Hi, Maz.
Hello. Oh, we should put some makeup on now.
Excellent bed swerving.
It was very difficult to lie in bed and just do nothing. It's probably the hardest thing I've ever had to do. Sacrifice.
You were brilliant.
What was the casting process like for that, Maz? Was it a tough casting process?
Adam, I think that's probably another one for the Patreon exclusive. That's all I'm going to say on that.
Yeah,
Amazing, amazing. Sarah, any more questions?
Yes, so I've got one here that says, do the cast, like me, find all the callbacks to earlier Shakespeare striking? There's certainly a lot in this one.
Oh, that is a good question. I thought Sawyer's introduction perfectly kind of captured the rate and density of the callbacks in the show to some of those amazing tropes. Sawyer, do you have a particular favourite of those? A kind of twist on a classic, as it were?
You know, I was just talking in the chat about how I think there's a lot of similarities between the Queen here and then Cleopatra from Antony and Cleopatra, which was written like about a year before it. Partially because Cleopatra also has an obsession with poisons, and also in the original Plutarch, like it says that she experiments with the poisons and practices on small animals, which I think is a really interesting kind of crossover, and maybe also points to the idea of like the Queen manipulating the king and getting what she wants out of him, which I think is also a theme in that play. So I really like that part. I just like the Queen a lot.
Absolutely, absolutely. Give it up for the Queen, everybody. Amazing. Hail to the Queen. Absolutely. Anybody else got a favourite twist on a classic Shakespeare trope popping out in this play? I've got to say, I really enjoyed 1/6, back to 1/6 again, but I love it as Othello, but where the person that is on the receiving end of it is a young woman. And therefore sees straight through it and doesn't buy it. And I just think it's really nice to see that. Obviously, you know, Shakespeare's misogyny or the misogyny that is within the writing, if we're going to be generous, is one of those kind of recurring themes. But it is really interesting in these late plays that you get so many extraordinarily written women in the plays, and I feel like Imogen is right up there with some of the absolute best that he ever did. And I think that scene in particular is testament to seeing through the let's keep it PG BS of the arch manipulators, if you like, which I thought was really interesting. Anybody else got a favourite twisted trope?
I very much enjoyed the Romeo and Juliet moment of waking up next to your dead lover, and I like that Shakespeare went, "I'm not repeating myself because this one's got no head." So there's no way he's going to sit up and start, and it's all going to end happily. This is over.
And it's also not him.
Oh yeah, it's also not him. And
but I think he does that also with the redemption of Posthumus, because we get that Imogen isn't killed the way that Desdemona is killed. So when it's not left in the hands of the scorned lover, it is that third party allows for reclaiming some of an ending, I guess.
Yeah.
So he's kind of fixing the problems.
Yeah, he's got that great line, Pisanio. Posthumus talking about Pisanio says, you shouldn't follow all my commands, just the just ones, something like that. And it's just that idea of balance of power, though, isn't it? Like checks and balances are a really important thing to keep alive. Absolutely. Wonderful. Any other favourites? All right, never mind then. Moving on. Sarah, any more questions?
Yes, I've got a couple more that I think we've got time to get through.
Just squeeze in, yeah.
Yes. So, I'll ask this one. So, how many different ways did you consider bringing Jupiter's Eagle and Thunderbolts to live on Zoom? It was fantastic.
So many ways, everybody. So many ways. So, Emily, do you want to take this one?
Yes, I do. The idea that I initially came to the team with was, there's no way we can get an eagle on stage. Like we don't have the budget for an eagle. We don't have the cardboard for an eagle. How about we just have the talons? We make it out of coat hangers and we have Comfort kind of hanging on to like this pair of talons sort of just off screen and kind of almost zip wiring in on talons, kind of going, whoa. I'm throwing the thunderbolt, but still hanging on to the eagle talons. And Rob went, no, we need to see the eagle. And I went, okay. So I made a prototype eagle with flappy wings out of cardboard boxes, and I sent this tutorial to Comfort, and Comfort went, yep, absolutely, I'll start making that. And then we went, no, we need a more realistic eagle. Cardboard eagle won't cut it for the groundlings, only the best for the groundlings. And we started looking at virtual background eagles and how to kind of project it onto a kind of eagle-ish shape in the front of Comfort's frame, and how she could kind of pilot that. Actually, Comfort, do you want to show them what the cardboard eagle was attached to? Because
yeah, let's look behind the curtain.
Yeah, she needed to hold it like far enough away from her frame that it kind of looked convincing. So we put it on a fork. And then we kind of had to get the motion. And do you want to maybe speak to the movement side of things, Comfort, that we developed? I think actually it was this afternoon.
Yes, I sure can. Yeah, so I have a three-pronged fork for some reason, which was quite handy for helping to maneuver the eagle. And then I used a bunch of tiny little post-it notes to create sort of green screen effect, which was very helpful in creating this projection of the eagle. And it was about lining up the eagle and the fake eagle, obviously this isn't an eagle, and getting the camera movement to work together, which we kind of just got through this afternoon. So yeah, this is the eagle. This is Jupiter's eagle.
Yeah, and many eagles were auditioned for this purpose, I hasten to add. We went through probably 5 or 6 different eagles before we arrived at the one. Go on, Emily.
Is it worth me mentioning the 11th hour suggestion that we also auditioned?
Yes, 100%. Yes. Yeah.
Being the eagle. Groundlings may be aware that from time to time we use kind of face filters on Zoom to transform actors into donkeys if they can't transform themselves into donkeys, etc. And we did find an eagle filter, and I was auditioning myself as an eagle. I did a very convincing impression, I thought, but we went actually instead with the very nicely made green screen instead of me as eagle.
But it was only because we couldn't get you into the same camera. We could have got you into a shared screen, would have been miles away. The final thought that we had was obviously having Jupiter transform from an eagle into Jupiter, but we always try and stick as closely to Shakespeare's text as possible. The stage direction does say on an eagle, and so it was very important that we got the accuracy of that absolutely down. And I thought, Comfort, you did an immense job bringing Shakespeare's hardest stage direction to life, and full credit as well, of course, must go to Adam Gibson on sound. Do you want to talk us through how many layers were involved in like a 5-second sequence?
Well, I'll actually have to look to see how many layers, because I actually wouldn't be able to tell you the exact number off the top of my head. The moment where Jupiter descends, there's about 8 different effects going on for that 5-second snippet. There's our eagle cry, which actually isn't an eagle cry, unfortunately. It's a hawk, but it's something that the film industry over the last, I don't know, however many decades has consistently, deliberately got wrong, because a hawk sounds cooler than an eagle, because a real eagle cry doesn't sound like that. Yeah, and then we've got the flapping wings, which is lovely. Big Lord of the Rings inspired, as always, of like, almost dragon-like. And then we've got our lovely choirs as well and stuff like that, and thunders and everything godlike, really. It's been really nice. It's really good fun.
Fabulous. Thank you so much, Adam. And just back over to Emily quickly. I believe she's got rumour of another Patreon exclusive that we might be able to squeeze out of this particular orange.
I will be doing the Eagle audition on Patreon, it transpires.
Can't wait to see it. So get donating to that Patreon if you want to see Emily embodying the eagle. Thanks so much, everyone. Sarah, any more questions? Probably only time for one more.
Oh, okay.
Read them out and I'll pick.
All right. So one was another Zoom related functionality. So the question was, in its full entirety, TSMGO has done amazing things to stretch what can be done on Zoom. But if you could commission the Zoom developers to add any features of functionality, what would they be?
I'll tell them when they pay me a consultancy fee.
Yeah, there's a lot of stuff.
Adam has thoughts on this. Adam has big thoughts on the same
Many
side.
recommendations.
Absolutely. So Zoom, if you're right there, and you should be, because we've been doing you enough promotion over this time, drop us a line.
And the other question was, what's going to happen after the shows are finished?
That's a very good question. So the only thing that I suppose I can say on that is to stay tuned and keep your eyes peeled. There are what I shall diplomatically refer to as bubblings in the ether.
Yes.
So while it may well be the end of the first folio, it may not be the end of The Show Must Go Online. And that's as much as I will say.
I'll say I'm going to release my ASMR play of me sleeping for 3 weeks.
Yes, Adam, absolutely.
Radio play.
I might read a book. I might try and get a full night's sleep. We shall see. We shall see. Is it still possible? Absolutely. So, girls, gals, non-binary pals, we've reached the end of the evening. Thank you so much for joining us. We have 2 to go, just 2 to go. So please let everybody you know, and I mean everybody, even the ones that say in fact, especially the ones that say I hate Shakespeare, get on them and say, no, you don't. Check this out. There's an eagle, there's lightning, there's decapitations. It's all kicking off. You're going to love it. We've got 2 shows left. Next week, we've got Henry VIII, which is Shakespeare's final history play. It is an frankly insane pageant piece that kind of hops, skips and jumps through history. And then we're going to finish off with an all-alumni production of The Tempest, which I honestly can't wait for. It's going to be absolutely wonderful. Is T here? Sorry, is T here? T's joined us. We have our body double. Take a bow, T.
Oh, he's been creepily sat here for a while, just like, where's my bow?
Yeah.
This is for you, T.
This is the hand.
Oh, perfectly done, perfectly done. That's training right there. Marvelous. All right. Thank you so much, everyone, and good night. See you next week.